Immortal family of the Clear River. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, Distinguish between public and private affairs. Song Qingming said with a relaxed expression, Patriarch, there is a second-level magic weapon in here. I found it when I explored the senior cave in the clouds last time. I can't use the second-level magic weapon now, so why don't you take it first? There are also several exercises in it, and I want to hand it over to the family directly. After returning from Funiu Mountain last time, although Song Qingming told the old patriarch directly that he had obtained a lot of spiritual objects on this trip, it was just that the matter was urgent at that time, and Song Gushan did not ask him what he had obtained specifically for safety reasons. Now, after hearing Song Qingming say that there was a second-level magic weapon in his storage bag, the always calm Song Gushan also showed a look of surprise. Qingming, what you said is true, you really have a second-level magic weapon on you. Song Gushan opened the storage bag with some excitement and took a look. Not long after, a small golden flag appeared in Song Gushan's hand. The name of this magic weapon is the Black Tiger Flag, which is the most powerful one among the 3 second-level magic weapons Song Qingming obtained. The soul of a second-level demon beast, the Black Mane Tiger, was refined into the Black Tiger Flag. When this magic weapon is used against the enemy, the spirit of this demon beast can be released to help in the battle. Although the Black Mane Tiger in the soul state no longer has the strength of a real second-level demon beast, after using the magic weapon to appear, it can burst out 50% to 60% of the power of a second-level demon beast in a short period of time. However, this magic weapon cannot be used multiple times in a short period of time. After using it once, it must wait at least 2 or 3 months for it to be warmed up before it can be used again. Song Gushan first took out a Black Tiger Flag and looked at it carefully, then took out several volumes of exercises that Song Qingming had taken out and looked at them, and then slowly said to Song Qingming, Qingming, I didn't expect that you would have such a great harvest last time you went to Funiu Mountain. You can take the initiative to take out such a precious spiritual object. It seems that you still have the family in your heart, which makes me very happy. It's just that the properties of this magic weapon are not compatible with the exercises I practice, so I'd better give it to Changfang to refine it. He happens to practice with attributed exercises, and having this magic weapon will be even more powerful. This way I can feel more at ease after going down the mountain. This magic weapon will be directly regarded as your submission to the family. I will go to the gold storage pavilion with you later and give you 500 points of family merit. These exercises are also very important to the family, so I will convert them into 300 merits for you, or you can directly exchange them for spirit stones. Compared to using it for self-defense now, Song Gushan still wants to keep the second-level magic weapon in the family and use it as a family heritage in the future. It's up to the clan leader to decide, Song Qingming said softly, and he had no objection to Song Gushan's arrangement. Seeing that Song Qingming had no objection, Song Gushan nodded happily. Not long after, the two came to the Song family's gold storage pavilion. After the 4th elder Song Guke heard the clan leader say that Song Qingming was going to hand in several spiritual objects, he was stunned. Qingming, among these several exercises, there is one that can be cultivated to the foundation building stage. It can be considered that the family has taken advantage of you. I have given you so many spiritual stones, but I am about to go bankrupt. When you come again in the future, I will find a way to make up for it for you. You are a capable kid, and you will inevitably have to send things to me in the future. Don't worry, I don't mind that it's too little. I want all the exercise manuals, magic tools and elixirs. After Song Guke put away the several volumes of exercises, he smiled and encouraged Song Qingming in front of Song Gushan. Song Qingming only asked for half of the merits, and exchanged the rest for spirit stones, which almost emptied Song Guke's house. After completing the merit registration, Song Gushan said to Song Qingming kindly, Don't worry, I will explain this to other elders of the family. When you practice to the 9th level of Qi Refining in the future, this magic weapon can also be given to you for sacrifice. The family system that has been passed down in the family for 200 years is to distinguish between public and private. After all, these things are brought back from Funiu Mountain at the risk of your life. If you take them out, the family will definitely not let you suffer. In the future, no matter who it is, As long as they can take out something useful to the family, they can be exchanged for family merits at an equivalent price. After listening to this, Song Qingming was also a little excited. He didn't know what to say, so he could only nod his head to agree with the old patriarch's idea. Old patriarch, I still have a medium-grade spirit stone on me. Can you help me pass it to Uncle 13? This will be considered as a gift from me to him alone, and there is no need to register it here. After completing this matter, Song Qingming spoke to the two of them again. Song Gushun narrowed his eyes and said, I've said that the family should distinguish between public and private. You have to give this spiritual object to Changshan. This is a private matter between you and him. The family will not interfere too much. Let Gu Ke handle this matter. After finishing this matter, Song Qingming returned to his cave and began to prepare for the next Wang family's recruitment mission. In the past 6 months, Song Qingming also spent some time to study the books and scrolls brought out of the cave by the senior Gu Xiu. From these things that Chen Liudao thought were useless, he also found some clues about the identity of this senior cultivator. The senior's real name is Yifengyin, from a giant sect called Yuanyang sect in the west of Donghuangshao. This person came to Uyghur about 100 years ago. For some reason, he was unable to return to the sect, but died in this foreign land due to exhaustion of his lifespan. Yifengyin is a cultivator who is very persistent in the practice of the soul. The Fingyin soul forging technique that Song Qingming practiced before was created by him with reference to the practice of the soul forging technique in his body. After Song Qingming knew about this, he admired this cultivator who could create a technique on his own while still in the foundation building stage. It was a pity that this person failed to form a golden elixir and had already exhausted his lifespan after only creating a technique in the Qi refining stage. Otherwise, if he was given more time, another powerful spiritual consciousness technique would be added to the cultivation world. The soul forging technique that Song Qingming later obtained from Yifengyin storage bag had 3 levels. It was also a relatively powerful spiritual consciousness technique. It could be cultivated to the late foundation building stage. It was estimated that the techniques beyond that could only be found in the Yuanyang sect. Half a month passed quickly, and it was finally time to go down the mountain. Song Qingming came to the family meeting hall early in the morning. The old patriarch Song Gushun had arrived here early before him. Also here were his 9th uncle Song Changsun and his 10th sister Song Qingyu, whom Song Qingming had not seen for a long time. Song Qingyu greeted Song Qingming with excitement. Due to the majesty of the old patriarch in the family meeting room, she did not dare to approach Song Qingming again. Changshan has just broken through. In order not to affect his practice, I decided to let him stay to stabilize his practice. Let Qingyu go out with him to gain experience for this mission. Seeing the confusion on Song Qingming's face, Song Gushun patiently explained to him. In fact, Song Qingming had already known that his 13th uncle Song Changshan had broken through to the late stage of Qi refining a few days ago. The 13th uncle had a carefree personality. He had just successfully broken through and had not stabilized his practice, but he came out of retreat and chatted with Song Qingming for a long time. After getting the middle grade spirit stone, Song Changshan quickly closed his retreat. His foundation was relatively solid. Although the retreat time was longer than before, he still broke through the bottleneck that had troubled him for many years without any danger and raised his practice to the late stage of Qi refining. After the 4th brother Song Qingru arrived, Song Gushun nodded to the 5 people in the meeting room and shouted in a serious tone, "Let's go." Chapter 102, Troops set out on Chiffon Ridge. The Song family took the supplies they had prepared long ago, left Funiu Mountain and walked east for more than 200 miles to the Wang family's Wufang Mountain. Wufang Mountain is a second-level spiritual vein. The Wang family occupied this place after discovering a spiritual spring hundreds of years ago. They have been operating for more than 400 years. The spiritual fields on the mountain have been opened up for hundreds of acres. Not only are there dozens of Qi refining monks from the Wang family stationed here, but there is also a powerful second-level formation guarding the mountain. Even if the foundation building monks attack, so many monks can rely on the power of the formation to withstand a day or two until the arrival of reinforcements. In the world of cultivating immortals, the spiritual veins in many places are generated by nature. It takes at least tens of thousands of spiritual stones to cultivate a second-level spiritual vein from scratch. The spiritual vein of Wufang Mountain can be regarded as the most important industry of the Wang family, besides the ancestral land Taiyuan Mountain. As soon as the Song family arrived at Wufang Mountain, they saw from afar that there was already a person waiting at the foot of the mountain. When they approached, they saw that this person was a middle-aged man with a square face and thick eyebrows. He was dressed in a yellow Taoist robe and looked quite righteous. When he saw the Song family, he hurried forward and put on a smile. Haha, I thought it would be Taoist Changfang who came this time, but I didn't expect it to be the head of the Song clan who came in person. Junior Wang Xianlong greets Senior Song. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, he stepped forward and bowed to Song Gushan. Facing such a humble Wang Xianlong, Song Gushan was slightly surprised. After all, the Wang family was the main family of the Song family. Even if Wang Xianlong was just an ordinary cultivator in their family, he did not dare to be arrogant. He quickly bowed to Wang Xianlong and said, "Dao Wang, you are too polite. We are all fellow cultivators. How dare I, Song, call you Senior, Alice? When I first entered the Taoism, Senior Song was already a famous cultivator in our Qing County. Naturally, I have to call you Senior. Everything has been arranged on the mountain. Fellow Taoists, please follow me up the mountain first." After Wang Xianlong finished speaking, he raised his hand and made a gesture of invitation, and then walked in front. Song Gushan did not say any more polite words, and led everyone from the Song family to follow quickly. After going up the mountain, several monks of the Song family moved into the residence that the Wang family had prepared long ago. Song Qingming found that in addition to the monks of the Wang family, many monks from the various vassal families of the Wang family had gathered on Wufang Mountain. He also met several acquaintances he had met in Qinghofeng in recent years. The Wang family has dominated Qing County for nearly 1,000 years. The entire northern part of Qing County is the sphere of influence of the Wang family. There are more than 20 vassal Qi Refining families like the Song family under their tutelage. Some vassal families farther away have not arrived yet. They can only stay here first and wait for the monks who have not arrived yet. Unexpectedly, Song Qingming and others waited for 5 or 6 days on Wufang Mountain, and then all the vassal families of the Wang family arrived here. Fortunately, Wang Xianlong is not only enthusiastic, but also very thoughtful. He not only arranged a place for them to stay, but also sent some spiritual rice and other supplies. He would come to express his condolences every now and then, which made Song Qingming and others feel very warm. Seeing that all the vassal families had arrived, the Wang family immediately summoned the leading monks of each family and came to the Wufang Mountain Conference Hall to discuss the specific matters of this action. In the Wufang Mountain Conference Hall, including the Wang family monks, there were dozens of monks standing, and the 2 foundation building monks were sitting at the top. One was Wang Shengxin, the current patriarch of the Wang family, who was at the 8th level of foundation building and the number 1 master in Qing County. The other monk had not been building his foundation for a long time and only had the cultivation level of the 2nd level of foundation building. He was the current patriarch of the Jin family, Jin Guangyao. Seeing Jin Guangyao suddenly appear here, the monks of the Wang family's vassal families below showed a hint of surprise on their faces. Since Jin Guangyao successfully built his foundation more than 10 years ago, the Jin family has been able to get rid of the status of a vassal of the Wang family and has been promoted to a foundation building family. Logically, they no longer need to accept the Wang family's call. Unexpectedly, the Jin family gave the Wang family such a face this time that even Jin Guangyao, the foundation building patriarch, came in person. Seeing that everyone had arrived, Wang Shengxin stood up and said to everyone, "You all already know our goal this time. This time our goal is to encircle and suppress Qifeng Mountain. Please work together to get rid of this place where monsters have been entrenched for many years in Qing County. Don't worry, I have already discussed this operation with fellow Taoist Lu stationed in Qinghofeng. He will keep an eye on the rear for us. Our Wang family hereby guarantees that no matter which of your families is attacked by other forces during the operation, we will get our assistance in time. Please rest assured about this. This mission, killing the monsters on the mountain, is the business of our Wang family and Jin family. You don't have to worry about it. You all are responsible for your respective areas at the foot of the mountain and block the monsters that escape from the mountain. In the areas that everyone is responsible for, the materials of the monsters killed belong to each person. After the war, our Wang family will also take out a few spiritual objects to reward those who have made great contributions in this battle, and the monks who died in the battle can also get a pension from our Wang family. However, I have to say something ugly in advance. You are all vassals of my Wang family and have been protected by my Wang family for many years. If I know that any cultivator dares to be sneaky and play tricks, the Liu family will be their fate." Hearing that the reward for this action is so generous, the faces of the people below showed a trace of excitement, but not long after, they were beaten back to their original state by Wang Shengxin's harsh words. Everyone has witnessed the disaster of the Liu family's extermination that year. These small Qi refining families are not worth mentioning in the eyes of the huge Wang family. Once they offend the main family, the Wang family does not need to do it themselves. There will be a large group of people willing to share a piece of the pie. The disaster of extermination is just a matter of a blink of an eye. Qingming is a mountain near the boundary of Funiu Mountain. It is not too far from the place where Song Qingming was chased by the robbers of Yingqiaoling. It is less than 100 miles away. This place was originally the only way to enter Funiu Mountain from the north of Qing County. Many monks in QH County would enter Funiu Mountain from here to hunt monsters and pick spiritual herbs in exchange for cultivation resources. Recently, for some reason, this place was the territory of a second-level monster, the golden horned sheep. This monster was a relatively docile monster. It usually stayed in the mountains and rarely came out. It rarely invaded the territory of Qing County. A few years ago, a second-level middle-quality white lion came here, drove away the golden horned sheep and occupied this place. The white lion was ferocious, and all the monks passing by the mountain basically fell into his mouth. As a result, no monks in Qing County dared to enter Funiu Mountain from here in recent years. Not only that, this white lion crossed the border into Qing County a few months ago and attacked a small fine iron mine of the Wang family, killing several monks and thousands of mortals of the Wang family, and messed up the Wang family's mine. A foundation-building ancestor of the Wang family quickly came to support and fought a fierce battle with the white lion, and then defeated it. This white lion suddenly stirred up the situation in the north of Qing County. As the overlord of the north of Qing County, the Wang family naturally would not give up. They immediately began to gather people. Even the clan leader Wang Shengxin, who had been in seclusion, came out of seclusion to prepare to take down the spiritual vein where the monster was entrenched. Under the leadership of Wang Shengxin, the head of the Wang family, nearly 200 monks have already killed to the foot of Chifan Ridge. Not counting the last time that several major foundation-building families rectified King Hefang, this action can be regarded as the largest action of Qing County monks in recent decades. Chapter 103, Rejuvenation Ivy Wood Array. Under the arrangement of the Wang family monks, nearly 200 Qi refining monks were divided into two groups. The monks of the vassal families such as the Song family, led by several monks of the Wang family, each selected their own area of responsibility and quickly surrounded Qifeng Mountain. The remaining monks of the Wang and Jin families, led by 3 foundation-building monks, attacked Qifeng Mountain from 3 directions. In addition to Wang Shengxin and Jin Guanggaiao, the Wang family also came to this battle with a veteran foundation-building monk Wang Chenglian of the 5th level. In addition to the second-level middle-grade white lion, there are hundreds of low-level monsters on Qifeng Mountain. The white lion has occupied this place for several years and has basically subdued these monsters. Not long after the crowd surrounded the mountain, the white lion was alarmed. Seeing many monks coming down the mountain, the white lion suddenly became fierce and came down from the top of the mountain with more than a dozen monsters. The white lion was the fastest and rushed to the front. When it saw the dozens of cultivators rushing up from below, it roared, and the gusts of wind on its 4 hooves moved into the air. It opened its mouth and spit out a strong and fierce wind at the many cultivators below. "Evil beast, how dare you be so rampant!" Unexpectedly, the gust of wind spit out by the white lion was stopped by a green sword light just halfway on the way. Jin Guanggaiao, a foundation-building cultivator holding a 3-foot green sword, flew out from the cultivators below and fought with the white lion and the lion in the air. The Qi refining cultivators below soon fought with the monsters that followed the white lion. Jin Guanggaiao had not been building his foundation for a long time, and his cultivation was only at the 2nd level of foundation building. He only had his 2nd-level low-grade flying sword on him. He also knew that his strength was far inferior to that of the 2nd-level middle-grade white lion. Before the battle, he had arranged the Qi refining cultivators below to send a signal for help to the 2 foundation-building cultivators of the Wang family. The 2nd-level middle-grade white lion had several powerful magical powers. When it attacked the Wang family's fine iron ore vein a few months ago, it had a big fight with Wang Shengyu, another foundation-building ancestor of the Wang family. In the end, Wang Shengyue, who was at the third level of foundation building, was slightly injured. He relied on a second-level middle-grade spiritual talisman in his hand to barely repel the white lion. Jin Guangyu's cultivation and magical powers were not as good as Wang Shengyue's, and he soon fell into a disadvantage. However, his current task was not to repel this monster, but to try his best to delay the white lion. The foundation-building cultivators could fly with swords, and it would take no more than a cup of tea to support here. When the other two foundation-building cultivators of the Wang family came to help, they could turn defeat into victory. Most of the dozens of Qi refining cultivators below were also Jin family cultivators he brought with him. Even if it was not for the Wang family's mission, he could only bite the bullet and block the attack of the white lion. Once the beast broke through his defense line, the fate of these Qi refining cultivators below would be handed over to the monster. It was estimated that there would be few left after the battle. At the same time, at the angle of a mountain ridge at the north side of the foot of Qingming Mountain, two red apes in the Qi refining stage had just come down from the mountain. They didn't expect that just as they walked onto the flat ground, two green vines suddenly emerged from the ground and entangled the feet of the two red fire apes. The two red fire apes were extremely powerful. They picked up the green vines wrapped around their feet with both hands and pulled hard, and soon broke them into two pieces. But before they could be happy, more green vines emerged from the ground and entangled the lower body of the red fire ape along its feet. These green vines broke and regenerated. No matter how the red fire ape tore, it couldn't completely remove these vines. The red fire ape was trapped in the vines and was furious. At this time, four sword lights suddenly came from not far away. The one leading was Song Gushan, the old patriarch of the Song family. The two red fire apes were of average strength and were only middle-grade monsters. They were controlled by the vines under their feet. Not long after, they screamed and died unwillingly in the hands of the Song family. Changling, Qingru, don't deal with these monster corpses yet, pull them aside and hide them. Qingming, don't be distracted, just concentrate on controlling the formation. Yes. Clan leader, the three armies responsible for attacking the mountain have already started fighting fiercely on the mountain, and many cultivators at the foot of the mountain are also welcoming the continuous attack of monsters. This time, the Wang family has issued strict orders to the major vassal families, not to let go of any monster on Qifeng Ridge, and vowed to catch all the monsters in Qifeng in one fell swoop. Not only that, Song Gushan's luck is average, and the defense position he drew is an open flat land. If he is unlucky, more than a dozen monsters will attack at the same time. Even if all 6 cultivators of the Song family are willing to fight for their lives, it will be difficult to defend this place. In order to reduce their own defensive pressure, the Song family can only choose to arrange the formation on the spot and wait for the enemy to tire themselves out. Since the death of the clan leader's top-grade formation master, the great elder Song Gubei, Song Qingming has become the person with the highest level of formation in the Song family. Although his formation level has improved a lot over the years, it is still far inferior to the great elder before his death. After Song Qingming studied the terrain of the mountains and rivers here, he chose to set up a rejuvenation ivy wood formation here. The rejuvenation ivy wood formation is a formation to trap the enemy. The attack power of this formation is not strong. The biggest advantage is that the formation can control a large range, covering a radius of 100 meters around. Fortunately, after surrounding the mountain for a long time, there have been few monsters fleeing to the Song family. Relying on the power of the formation, the Song family guarded it relatively easily and no one was injured. However, not all positions are so lucky. The several Qi refining families responsible for surrounding the east soon fell into a bitter battle shortly after the battle started. What they had to face was not the monsters that had escaped from Qifeng Mountain, but a group of powerful monsters that happened to be foraging at the foot of a nearby mountain. These monks had just arrived at the assigned location, and before they were ready, they were besieged by monsters. Fortunately, several Wang family monks who were patrolling nearby quickly discovered the situation and came to support them. In addition, several families who were prepared in the rear also helped to support them, which helped them stabilize the situation. Although the overall strength of the monsters on Qifeng Mountain was not as good as that of the monks in Qing County, their number was not less than theirs. Although this method of encirclement on all sides could achieve the goal of completely annihilating the monsters on the mountain, it also dispersed their own strength. Once the monsters began to break through by force, it was inevitable that some monks would face enemies that were several times their own. After several fierce collisions in the air, Jin Guangyao, who was dressed in red, was knocked back more than 10 feet by a blue lightning sprayed by the white lion. There was a black spot on his shoulder. After only fighting for more than 20 rounds, Jin Guangyao, who was facing this ferocious white lion, had already felt tremendous pressure, and a trace of scarlet color overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Just after blocking an attack, the white lion used another powerful magical power. The triple wind blade slashed over. Jin Guangyao, who was still unstable in the air, could only grit his teeth and release a purple-brown spell to meet it, wanting to sacrifice this magic weapon to slow down the speed of the white lion's attack and buy himself time to dodge. Unexpectedly, this bronze bell magic weapon was split into two halves and fell to the ground before it could even completely take on the first wind blade, becoming a piece of waste. This magic weapon has been with him for many years. Although it is not a second-level magic weapon, its defensive ability is very outstanding. Unexpectedly, he had just taken it out and completely lost this magic weapon in less than a moment. Seeing that the wind blades were already in front of him and could not be avoided, Jin Guangyao could only hold a yellow talisman in his hand. When the first wind blade was still a few feet away from him, a yellow light shield suddenly appeared in front of him and blocked the wind blade. Before he could breathe a sigh of relief, the other two wind blades had already slashed on the light shield. After a burst of sizzling sounds, the two wind blades completely disappeared in the air. The yellow light shield in front of Jin Guangyao also suddenly became very dim and soon turned into nothingness. Chapter 104 Hunting the White Lion. Unexpectedly, Bai Shi's magical power was so powerful that it not only cost him a defensive magic weapon, but also forced out the only second-level low-grade defensive talisman on his body. Jin Guangyao, who lost his strongest defensive support, couldn't help but frown and glanced at the 20 or 30 Qi Refining monks he brought with him. If no reinforcements came, he would probably have to consider his own retreat first. Bai Shi was about to launch another attack, but he didn't expect that a swordlight had already killed him from a distance, and an old man with simple appearance and white hair had appeared in Jin Guangyao's eyes. The person who came was Wang Changlian, the oldest foundation-building monk of the Wang family. This old monk had been building his foundation for more than 100 years, and his experience in fighting was far beyond that of ordinary people. Seeing that Jin Guangyao was in a tight situation, the flying sword light under Wang Changlian's feet changed rapidly, and he actually used the method of quick steps to increase his speed in a short period of time, but he had joined the battle in a moment. Seeing that the reinforcements had arrived, Jin Guangyao was also shocked and began to turn defense into offense. The two of them worked together to slowly stabilize the situation. However, the Qi Refining monks brought by the Jin family below were gradually unable to hold on. They were divided into several parts by nearly 100 monsters, and many monks had already suffered casualties. In order to provide quick support, Wang Changlian abandoned the Qi Refining monks below and came alone. It would take at least some time for his monks to arrive here. There were not many low-level monsters on Qingming Mountain, but it was unexpected that this white lion was not only fierce, but also had some spiritual intelligence. After occupying this place, it has subdued monsters from many nearby places in the past few years and concentrated them here, which also made the number of monsters on Qingming Mountain exceed the Wang family's previous estimate of this place. Jin Guangyao saw that the Qi Refining monks below could no longer hold on. After exchanging glances with Wang Changlian, he was about to go down to help the Qi Refining monks below. Unexpectedly, just as he had just left the fight, the white lion suddenly changed direction, got rid of Wang Changlian's entanglement, and fled down the mountain. Oh no, this evil beast is about to run away. Fellow Taoist Jin, don't worry about what's going on below. Come with me to stop it. Don't let it run away like this. Seeing that the white lion wanted to escape, Wang Changlian quickly shouted to Jin Guangyao, who was not far away, and then took the lead and quickly chased in the direction of the white lion's escape. Jin Guangyao looked down, and then looked at Wang Changlian, who was chasing the white lion. After hesitating for a moment, he stomped his feet and chased in the direction of Wang Changlian. Fortunately, after the white lion left, the monsters on the mountain no longer felt so suppressed, and gradually relaxed their attacks on human monks. Taking this opportunity, many monks who were entangled by the monsters got rid of the monsters' pursuit and escaped. The White Lion's cultivation was higher than Wang Qingliang and Jin Guangyao, and its escape speed was also slightly faster than the two of them. Soon it had run down the mountain. The Qi Refining monks who were in charge of guarding this place were frightened by the huge white lion that was much larger than an ordinary first-level monster flying over. They hid in the rocks on both sides and could not even take care of the task of guarding this place for the time being. Just when the white lion thought he had escaped from this place, a white sword light flew towards the white lion from the ridge on one side. The sword arrived before the man arrived. This sharp sword light actually forced the white lion to retreat. Wang Shengxin, who was not far away, took back the flying sword he had just released. One person and one sword blocked the white lion's way. Wang Qingliang and Jin Guangyao, who were not far behind, also took this opportunity to surround him. The three of them surrounded the fierce white lion. For a moment, the white lion seemed to have become a turtle in a jar. The threat posed by Wang Qingliang and Jin Guangyao to the white lion was far less than that posed by Wang Shengxin, the first monk in Qing County who was at the 8th level of foundation building. Wang Shengxin is only over 130 years old, but he has already cultivated to the 8th level of foundation building. In the past 1,000 years in Qing County, there are no more than a handful of cultivators like him who have a glimmer of hope of forming a pill. Although the current patriarch of the Wang family likes to practice hard in the cave and rarely goes down the mountain, since he has established his foundation, he has not seen an opponent that he can take seriously in Qing County. The reason why the Wang family spent so much effort to come to Qifan Mountain to encircle and suppress the white lion this time is actually not for the second-level spiritual vein of Qifan Mountain, but for a spiritual object on the body of this rare monster white lion, which can help him break through to the 9th level of foundation building quickly. Revenge for the low-level cultivators and mortals in the family, and eliminate the hidden danger of a monster for Qing County are just things that can be done at will. Otherwise, there would not be such a big battle. In order to be foolproof, it also cost a lot of money to invite the Jin family, who are on good terms with the Wang family. As the other two groups of Wang family monks who were responsible for attacking the mountain arrived at the battlefield, more than 100 low-level monsters on the mountain were beaten and ran around. Without the leadership of the white lion, these monsters of different species did not cooperate well, and some of them began to attack each other because of their nature. Low-level monsters lack intelligence, and it is difficult for them to defeat monks of the same level under normal circumstances. It didn't take long for this large group of monsters to be completely defeated by the monks of Qing County, and the rest fled down the mountain. The Song family monks who were guarding the mountain had good luck, and did not encounter a large group of monsters. Until the end of the battle, they only killed 4 monsters in total, and their record was only average. There were nearly 200 low-level monsters. Except for the direction where the white lion broke through, there were more than a dozen monsters. The rest were blocked by them on the mountain and soon met their fate of death. Although the white lion had great magical powers, it was a pity that he met Wang Shengxin, a late-stage foundation building monk who was even better. After resisting for a long time, he still could not escape the fate of defeat. A shrill scream came from the sky. The monks in the distance looked and saw a large amount of blood rain falling down. The huge body of the white lion fell on the ground. There was a roar. Wang Shengxin, holding a sword in one hand and a huge lion head in the other, slowly landed on the ground. Fellow Taoist Jin, thank you for your hard work. As agreed in advance, all the spiritual objects on the mountain belong to you. You'd better go and take a look, otherwise the younger generation below will not know the importance and secretly pick a few pieces, and you will suffer a loss. Wang Shengxin saw Jin Guangyao wanted to come over to see the body of the white lion, and reminded him meaningfully. When Jin Guangyao heard this, his face changed instantly, and he laughed and bowed, saying, "Thank you for your reminder, fellow Taoist Wang. I will go to the mountain to see if there are any monsters left. I will leave it to the two fellow Taoists here." As soon as he finished speaking, Jin Guangyao did not dare to stay for too long. He released the flying sword on his body and turned into a stream of light and flew towards the top of the mountain. It was not until Jin Guangyao's body turned into a black dot and disappeared in the air that Wang Shengxin turned around and began to direct the Qi Refining disciples of the nearby Wang family to clean up the place with Wang Qingliang. They divided the white lion's body into several parts and put them into several storage bags they had prepared long ago. Chapter 105 Rewarding According to Merit. On a high mountain thousands of miles away from Qifan Ridge, in the dark cave on the top of the mountain, an angry howl suddenly sounded. The sound was like thunder and resounded in the nearby mountains and rivers. When many monsters within a dozen miles of the mountain heard this sound, they all showed fear. They were all frightened by the sound and crawled on the ground for a long time. After killing the white lion, Jin Guangyao turned around on Qifeng Ridge and soon found some of the Jin family monks he brought with him. Most of the monsters on the mountain had been killed by the monks at this time. The remaining monsters that were still resisting were soon killed by the monks who attacked the mountain under the command of Jin Guangyao, a foundation-building monk. In this battle, the monks of Qing County led by the Wang family can be regarded as a great victory. They killed a second-level middle-grade white lion and more than 100 first-level monsters. The value of these monster materials alone is close to tens of thousands of spirit stones. After the war, Jin Guangyao led the Jin family monks to search on Qifeng Ridge and found dozens of mature spiritual medicines on the mountain, 2 of which had reached the second-level quality. In order to delay the white lion in the previous battle, Jin Guangyao also used up a lot of spiritual objects. The Jin family suffered a lot of losses when they came to Qifeng Ridge this time. Soon after the war started, they encountered the main force of the monsters on the mountain and lost several monks. Even the clan leader Jin Guangyao was injured. The most valuable thing on Qifeng Ridge is the second-level spiritual vein, but it's a pity that this place is too close to Funiu Mountain. Even if the monks in Qing County have killed all the monsters on the mountain, it is difficult to defend this spiritual vein for a long time. The reproduction speed of monsters is much faster than that of human monks. In the Funiu Mountain area alone, there are thousands of monsters. It won't take long before other monsters will come here. If you want to occupy this place for a long time, you must be able to be prepared to face the attacks of many monsters at any time. Including the Song family, many monks in charge of surrounding the mountain at the foot of the mountain had received instructions from the Wang family before the war that they could not go up the mountain at will without their permission, so as to prevent someone from sneaking up the mountain to rob spiritual objects. It took only a few hours from the time they began to surround the mountain to the time the Wang family announced the end of the battle. After completing their respective tasks, the monks from various families gathered together and began to wait for the Wang family's next instructions. When the Wang family monks came down from the mountain, everyone gathered together and began to leave this place and return to Wufang Mountain. Next, the Wang family will also provide relief to the monks who were injured and killed there, and reward the meritorious officials of this battle. This is also a necessary process for each call for monks. Although the following Qi Refining families are tools of the Wang family and can be called up and used at any time, if they work for you and you do not give them the relief and rewards they should have afterwards, then it is inevitable that these people will have second thoughts and turn to join others. The Wang family has been able to dominate Qing County for 1,000 years, and this is naturally clear. On Qifeng Ridge, after all the other cultivators had left, to everyone's surprise, Jin Guangyao led the Jin family cultivators to stay on the mountain and began to explore the ground veins and set up formations on this second-level spiritual vein. The Jin family did not have a second-level spiritual vein. The reason why Jin Guangyao readily accepted the Wang family's invitation and came to besiege Qifeng Ridge this time was actually because he had his eyes on this second-level spiritual vein. Jin Guangyao had broken through the foundation for more than 10 years. When he was first responsible for guarding King Hefang, the second-level spiritual vein of King Hefang could still support his daily practice. After the 5-year rotation period was up, he had no choice but to give up the position of guarding King Hefang and return to the Jin family. In the past few years, he relied on the family's heritage and used spiritual stones to subsidize his practice so that he did not fall behind in his practice speed. However, this is not a long-term solution. The Jin family does not have many spiritual stones in stock. If this continues, it will run out sooner or later. Jin Guangyao could only start looking for other ways out. After receiving the invitation from the Wang family, Jin Guangyao thought about it and agreed. However, he also agreed with the Wang family that after conquering Qifeng Mountain, the spiritual veins and spiritual objects on the mountain would be handed over to the Jin family. The Wang family's original purpose was to hunt the white lion, and they had no interest in the spiritual vein of Qifeng Mountain. The Wang family did not raise any opinions and agreed to this matter very readily. Jin Guangyao is really a little crazy because of poverty. He dared to take the spiritual vein of Qifeng Mountain. He is not afraid of putting the whole Jin family in it, Looking at the Jin family cultivators who were arranging the formation in the distance, Wang Chengliang said to Wang Shangxin with some disdain. Wang Shangxin narrowed his eyes and smiled. The Jin family is not deep in the foundation, and he has to choose to take this risk. In the past 30 years in Qing County, only he can successfully build a foundation. He is also a person with excellent character and aptitude. Don't underestimate him. Less than half a day after returning to Wufang Mountain, Song Guoshan received a notice to go and receive the reward for this mission. While everyone was still on their way back, the Wang family had already arranged for people to count the contributions of each family's cultivators in this battle. Wang Shangxin, the foundation building clan leader, was not concerned about this matter. After returning to Wufang Mountain, Wang Shangxin took the spiritual objects on the white line and left here, and directly entrusted the important task of providing relief and rewards to each family's cultivators to Wang Chengliang. The cultivator with the best performance was from the Ma family. This person had cultivated to the 9th level of Qi Refining. In this battle, he killed 3 high-level monsters alone, and his contribution far exceeded that of other cultivators. The Wang family was not stingy about this, and directly rewarded him with a good top-grade magic weapon, which made this person's face very happy. The 2nd and 3rd cultivators were rewarded with a mid-grade magic weapon respectively. The Ma family won the first prize, which also attracted the envy of other monks. This Ma family monk is less than 50 years old and can be regarded as a rising star. Among the thousands of Qi Refining monks in Qing County, there are not many who have the hope of building a foundation. This person can be regarded as one of them. It is possible that in a short time, Qing County will have another foundation building family. In contrast, the Song family monks performed mediocrely. They went there just to watch the fun. Together, they only received a few spiritual subsidies of top-grade spiritual talismans. They were not surprised by this. Before the war, Song Qingming spent a long time setting up the Fujimu Rejuvenation Formation. He originally wanted to use the power of this formation to do a big fight, but he didn't expect that their luck was mediocre and didn't get many opportunities to perform. But overall, they were lucky. Although they consumed some spiritual objects, there were no casualties, which made them very happy. The cultivators of the worst luck were besieged by a large number of monsters at the beginning. There were 7 cultivators, and 3 died and 2 were injured in the battle. Only 2 people were left uninjured and safe. Although the Wang family also issued a lot of compensation, the death of half of the cultivators in the battle still made their faces full of gloom. After receiving the reward, Song Guoshan informed the Wang family cultivators and led the Song family to leave Wufang Mountain the next day. Chapter 106, Bad News at Home. A few days after returning to Funiu Mountain, another major event in Qing County reached the Song family mountain gate. After the Jin family occupied Qingming Ridge, in order to increase the force to guard this second-level spiritual vein, Jin Guangyao issued a bounty order in Qing County, inviting scattered cultivators from all over the neighborhood to go to Qingming Ridge to assist them in guarding the spiritual mountain. The bounty order issued by the Jin family is different from the conscription order issued by the Wang family. The conscription order is an order issued by the main family to the dependent families under the sect. This order is mandatory. As a subordinate Qi Refining family like the Song family, they cannot refuse the main family's conscription, otherwise they will be greeted by a catastrophe. The bounty order issued by the Jin family is the same as the task that the Liu family invited them to go to the floating cloud mountains to hunt the second-level monsters. At this time, it is just an employment relationship. Whether to accept the task is completely voluntary. There are not many mandatory requirements, and the reward given will be higher. Seeing that the price on the Jin family's bounty order was very high, not only the casual cultivators in Qing County, but also many cultivators from Qi Refining families like the Song family were moved by the spirit stones and came here. For a while, many cultivators gathered on Qingming Ridge. Although they were attacked by several second-level monsters, they were all defended by the Jin family without any danger. However, in order to invite those powerful casual cultivators, the Jin family also offered a relatively high price. Although the Jin family also had some foundation, it would be difficult to persist for too long. At most, the Jin family would face the crisis of bankruptcy in half a year. For this reason, Jin Guangyao did not hesitate to mortgage several of the original Jin family's mines and King Hufang shops to other families. More than 3 months later, a second-level formation was set up on Qingming Ridge, which ended the bounty order. After breaking through the late stage of Qi refining, the 13th uncle Song Changshan was also a master who could not sit still. Not long after he finished his retreat, he followed a few friends to Chiffon Ridge for 2 months and earned a lot of spirit stones. It was not until the Jin family had no more employment tasks that he returned to Funiu Mountain with great reluctance. However, some people are not as leisurely as him. Song Qingming, who had just returned to Funiu, had not yet taken a breath when he received the bad news that his father was seriously ill from his home at the foot of the mountain. He could only rush back to his home in Moujiao town. Song Dezhang is nearly 60 years old, which is considered old among mortals. In recent years, he has had many problems with his body. Half a month ago, he accidentally fell in his yard due to the slippery road on rainy days and lay on the bed all of a sudden. Song Dezhang has been unable to speak for half a month, and his condition has worsened. The Song family has invited many doctors to treat him, but none of them worked. They could only inform the family's garrison monks in Moujiao town about this matter, and wanted to notify Song Qingming to go home to see if there were any other ways. It was just that Song Qingming was still on the Wang family's Wufang mountain at this time, and he didn't know about this until he returned to Funiu. Song Qingming used his own magic power to check his father's body and found that several important organs in Song Dezhang's body were severely damaged. He was almost at the end of his life. It was not easy for him to hold on until he came back. Facing the expectant eyes in his mother's eyes, Song Qingming could only shake his head helplessly. Although he was a cultivator, the spiritual objects in his hands could only cure diseases and eliminate disasters. There was no high-level spiritual medicine that could make mortal bones grow flesh and bring the dead back to life. In Song Dezhang's current condition, it would not be of much use to rashly consume spiritual medicine for treatment, and it might even accelerate his death. Song Qingming could only exchange some medicines from the clan for Song Dezhang to take, trying to relieve some of his pain. Half a month later, the Song family began to hang white banners everywhere. Song Dezhang, who was reluctant to leave his relatives, finally passed away. In recent years, the Song family has been regarded as a prominent family in Moujiao town. In addition, Song Qingming also wanted to let his father pass away in a more dignified manner, so Song Dezhang's funeral was naturally very grand. For several days in a row, the Song family's door was full of people from Moujiao town who came to pay their respects. The sound of suona, gongs and drums expressing the grief of their relatives never stopped from morning to night. Song Qingming also went to the mountain to invite the fourth elder Song Guke, who is proficient in feng shui, to find a feng shui treasure land for Song Dezhang to be buried. After 4 or 5 days of busy work, the fourth brother sent away all the guests who came to mourn. It was not convenient for Song Qingming to show up too much among mortals. The second sister had to take care of the grief-stricken Song mother, so he and his brother-in-law were basically busy with the running errands. After dealing with his father's affairs, Song Qingming was not in a hurry to return to the mountain. He stayed at home for more than 10 days. There was a lack of spiritual energy in Moujiao town, so he did not spend spiritual stones on cultivation. He took the initiative to walk out of the door and familiarize himself with the house, contrary to his usual habit of staying in his room every time he went home. One day, Song Qingming was playing with several young nephews in the backyard, but his elderly mother came to him. "Saner, your father has been gone for so long, why are you still staying at home? He was most afraid that family affairs would delay your cultivation. You came back to take care of this matter this time, which is also considered to be filial piety. Go back after dinner. Don't worry about me here. It's nothing serious. I know my own body well." Song's mother was a sensible person. Seeing that Song Qingming had not returned to the mountain for so long, she took the initiative to put down her grief and came to persuade Song Qingming to leave. Although she also wanted her son to stay with her at home, Song Qingming's future was obviously more important to her than these things. Song Qingming knew what his mother meant, nodded and agreed, and helped his mother to sit down. Mother Song looked at Song Qingming beside her, then looked at the grandchildren in the yard, and slowly showed a smile that she hadn't seen for a long time. "It's a pity that Yunshin didn't measure the spiritual roots last time. I don't know if these children have the fate of immortals, so they can go to the mountains with me to practice in the future." In recent years, the fourth brother has given birth to several children. Song Yunshin, Song Qingming's eldest nephew, is already 10 years old. Half a year ago, he went to the town to participate in the spiritual root test, but the result was not unexpected. The child was disappointed. He was just an ordinary mortal and did not measure the spiritual roots. In this life, he could not practice immortal methods like Song Qingming, his uncle. If nothing unexpected happened, he could only be a rich man among mortals like his father. When Song's mother heard what Song Qingming said, she said with some displeasure, "How come you have become as stubborn as your father? What's wrong with not having a chance to become an immortal? If I were to ask them, it would be enough for them to live in peace and security until old age. They all went to cultivate immortality. No matter how big this family is, it would be deserted. What's the point? It would be great if you could get married earlier. How can I leave you alone in the mountains?" As soon as she finished speaking, tears from Song's mother's eyes could not be stopped. Song Qingming naturally knew that his mother wanted him to get married a long time ago, but the family had a rule that cultivators could not get married before the age of 40. Even if he had this idea, he was still a few years away from getting married, so he could only helplessly explain it to his mother again. However, his father's sudden death this time still left him with a trace of regret in his heart. It was indeed a great regret in life that he could not let his parents see him get married. Even if he was a cultivator, how could he completely cut off the relationship between the secular world when his parents were still alive? Chapter 107, Monster Rebellion. After saying goodbye to his family, Song Qingming, who returned to Funiu Mountain, quickly came out of the grief of his relative's death and began to carry out the family's task of transporting supplies to King Hefang. After leaving King Hefang with Feng Liudao last time, Song Qingming returned to King Hefang for the first time in more than 3 months. After a few months, Song Qingming found that there were many more unfamiliar monks in King Hefang. After checking Song Qingming's identity, the monk guarding the gate of the market let him in without asking any questions. It seems that Zhou Jintang's disappearance did not attract anyone's attention. After killing Zhou Jintang in Funiu Mountain, Song Qingming had been worried for several months that someone would come to the market to seek revenge after the incident. It was not until he handed over the supplies and left the market this time that he was relieved about the matter. After completing this task, Song Qingming also ushered in a period of stable cultivation in the mountains. Only when the family occasionally needed manpower to escort supplies would he go down the mountain. In the past, the second elder of the family, Song Changfeng, was in charge of transporting supplies. However, the old patriarch's lifespan is not long now, and the second elder has begun to gradually take over the patriarch's authority and cannot go down the mountain often. This matter has fallen to Song Qingming, who has a higher cultivation level in the family. Soon, 2 years passed in a flash. Song Qingming also had around 2 years of quiet cultivation in the mountains. In addition to cultivation, he would still make some talismans and other items. When the family sent him down the mountain to transport supplies, he would take them to King Hefang to exchange for some spiritual objects needed for cultivation. In the past 2 years, in addition to cultivation, Song Qingming's biggest improvement was his talisman making level. Half a year ago, he had already improved his talisman making skills to the top grade and became the third top grade talisman maker of the Song family. However, after he made a lot of top grade talismans, he suddenly found something that made him a little helpless. Although the top grade talismans had higher profits, they were not as easy to sell as the middle grade talismans in King Hefang. Many of the top grade talismans sold in King Hefang were still piled up in his own storage bag. The reason for this is that although the effect of the top grade talisman is good, the finished product is much higher. The value of a top grade talisman is generally about 10 spirit stones, which is 4 or 5 times that of a medium grade talisman. The people who can afford the top grade talismans in King Hefang are those old-fashioned late-stage cultivators. As for the large number of low and middle-level cultivators, most of them are not too rich. Even if they have 1 or 2 top grade talismans, they are kept as trump cards. Generally speaking, they are not willing to use them, so the overall consumption of top grade talismans in the market is not large. He can only change back to making medium grade talismans, and the dozens of top grade talismans he has hoarded can only wait until the next time he goes out to sell them in a large market like Gianfang. In the floating cloud mountains thousands of miles north of Gianfang, a short late-stage cultivator is on a high cliff. He can only see the mana surging in his hands, and he is struggling to climb the smooth cliff quickly. A few dozen feet away from him, on the cliff, there were several star moon flowers swaying gently with a breeze on the cliff, and a hint of blue enchanting spiritual light flashed from time to time on the yellow petals. He came alone to the depths of the dangerous floating cloud mountains just for these spiritual objects. Soon the middle-aged monk successfully climbed to the star moon flowers. After seeing the spiritual objects, he first carefully inspected them. After confirming that there was no danger nearby, he carefully picked these spiritual flowers and put them into his storage bag. Seeing that the purpose of this trip had been achieved, the man also showed a happy expression on his face. After checking that there were no spiritual medicines missed nearby, he turned around and prepared to leave this cliff to look for spiritual medicines nearby. Unexpectedly, the middle-aged monk who had just raised his head suddenly fixed his eyes after seeing the scene in the distance below the mountain, and gradually showed a trace of panic on his face. After wiping his bright eyes with his hands and confirming that there was nothing wrong with his eyes, the cultivator looked up at the foot of the mountain again. He saw a burst of yellow sands flying all over the sky in the distance, and countless monsters were mixed in it, slowly approaching him from far and near. This is a monster riot. After confirming that he was not mistaken, the cultivator who had been in the floating cloud mountains for decades was already full of fear on his face. After shouting, he quickly ran down the mountain. 10 days later, hundreds of cultivators, like him, encountered a group of monsters approaching the south in the floating cloud mountains and fled the floating cloud mountains in panic. Many cultivators did not escape in time and fell into the belly of the monsters. In the meeting hall of Gianfang, a dozen foundation building cultivators were carefully discussing in the hall how to deal with this monster riot. Even Qingming, the giant and ancestor stationed in the market, came out of his retreat and sat on the high platform to preside over the meeting. According to the information that junior brother Shen brought me yesterday, there are 3 groups of monsters coming towards Gianfang this time. There are 4 level 3 monsters leading them, and there are also hundreds of level 2 monsters. They are quite powerful, and there are more than 10,000 low-level monsters under their command. Their strength is far beyond the current guard force of Gianfang. Junior brother Chen, you must go to the mountain gate in person and ask the head brother to arrange for the sect to come to a rescue as soon as possible. If it is too late, some accidents may happen. Disciple obeys the order. A tall and thin man saluted Qingming respectfully, then took the order and left quickly. Qingming nodded, and continued to say to the rest of the people with a serious face, notify everyone that from today on, Gianfang will be closed, and all cultivators can only enter but not leave. Post a notice to inform the cultivators in the market that everyone must accept the deployment of the market guard. If anyone dares to retreat without a fight, I will personally take action and use his head as a sacrifice. Fortunately, every time the monsters in the northern border riot, it will not involve cultivators above the nascent soul and the 4th level demon king. Whether it is the monsters or the human race, those who can take action are those below the golden collar. Otherwise, if the 4th level demon king appears on the battlefield, Gianfang may not be able to defend it for half a day. The Xiaoyao sect's mountain gate is some distance away from Gianfang. If they want to wait for the sect's reinforcements, they need to hold on for a while. Unexpectedly, within a few days, 2 groups of monsters had already arrived near Gianfang from 2 directions, led by 2 thunder eagles and a black dragon. All 3 were giant and stage monsters. Faced with the absolute suppression of strength, Qingming did not dare to fight, and could only rely on Gianfang's level 3 mountain protection formation to defend. After the 2 groups of monsters arrived at Gianfang, they quickly commanded the lower-level monsters below to surround the market and began to attack the mountain protection formation outside the market. Not only Gianfang, but also several markets near the Funiu Mountains and Weiguo were soon besieged by monsters. The once-in-a-century northern border monster turmoil began without warning. After the news of the monster turmoil reached Xiaoyao sect, the Xiaoyao sect monks immediately began to organize monks to go north for support, and quickly issued a conscription order to several county family monks near Gianfang, asking them to rush to support first. Chapter 108 Support. Soon, the news that the northern border monsters had gone south spread throughout the entire Wei state. For a time, the entire northern Wei state, as well as several nearby countries adjacent to the floating cloud mountains, fell into an extremely tense atmosphere. Qing County soon received the order from Xiaoyao sect after discussing in Qinghefang. The major foundation building families of Wang, Gao, Lu, and Jin immediately issued the largest call for the Qi Refinement families in the past 100 years and began to organize people to go to the north for support. In the Song family meeting hall on the top of Funiu Mountain, 2 important figures of the Song family were arguing about the candidates for this support mission. 4th uncle, this time going down the mountain is of great importance. You should let me go and let my ninth brother stay. Changxin has a calm personality and has participated in many clan affairs in the past few years. Even if I can't come back, the family can rest assured to hand it over to him." Faced with his second elder Song Changfeng's repeated requests to go to war, the old clan leader Song Gushan never agreed to him. This time he also shook his head firmly at him. "Or let Qingming stay." Song Changfeng still refused to give up, but Song Gushan suddenly interrupted him. "Changfeng, fourth uncle knows your intention, but you still have to listen to me this time. You stay to take care of Funiu. Just treat it as the last order from me as the clan leader. After I go down the mountain, whether I can come back or not, you will take over the position of clan leader. These children on the mountain and tens of thousands of family bloodlines below the mountain, this heavy burden will be handed over to you." After Song Gushan finished speaking, he took out a green token from the storage bag and handed it to Song Changfeng, and then left here directly. Song Changfeng, who was puzzled, was also stunned when he saw the token in his hand. Just when he wanted to speak, he found that Song Gushan did not give him another chance to speak, and had already walked out of the door. In the square outside the meeting hall, more than a dozen Song family cultivators, including Song Qingming, had packed their luggage and stood on the square outside. Song Gushan looked at the people in the square with satisfaction. His eyes slowly flashed through them one by one, and after a long time, he showed a smile and said, "Since everyone is here, let's go down the mountain with me." Although they had known for a long time that the mission of going down the mountain was arduous, everyone's faces were fine, and they did not show any fear. They even joked with each other when they gathered in the square. Only Song Changfeng and other monks who were selected to stay at the mountain gate, who were standing aside, had a heavy face and could not calm down for a long time. The news of the monster riot in the northern border had already spread to the mountain. They all knew that the degree of danger of this mission down the mountain was not comparable to the previous missions, but the Song family had no choice but to defend the country near the monster land. Someone had to stand up to face these. Looking at the clansmen who were leaving far away, Song Changfeng picked up the token that Song Gushan gave him before he left. This green token was a top-grade defensive magic weapon made by the ancestor of the Song family when he moved to Qing County. It was also the token of the clan leader passed down from generation to generation in the Song family for 200 years. Song Changfeng held the item tightly in his hand, as if he gradually felt the extra responsibility on himself. After a long time, he put it into his storage bag. The order received by the Song family this time was to go to Wufang Mountain to meet up with the Wang family first, and then follow the Wang family to the north for support. Since this time the monster riot came several years earlier than before, the preparations of several markets in Uyghur were a bit tasty, and they fell into a passive situation at the beginning. Xia Oyo sect could only urge all parties to step up their support. After the Song family of 15 people arrived at Wufang Mountain, they stayed there for less than 3 days before they set off to the north under the leadership of the Wang family cultivators. This time, whether it was the foundation building family or the Qi Refining family above, at least half of the cultivators were dispatched, and the team was much larger than the Wang family's extermination of Qifengling 2 years ago. The Wang family also dispatched 2 foundation building cultivators, namely the clan leader Wang Shengxin, whose cultivation level was higher than 2 years ago, and the 9th level of foundation building, and Wang Shengyu, who had just recovered from his injuries, and the 3rd level of foundation building, and the remaining Wang Chenglian stayed in the clan. After everyone walked north for a day, Gao Jin, the head of the Gao family, joined them with more than 100 monks. According to the instructions from Xiaoyao sect, there are 2 locations that the monks in Qing County need to support this time. One is Jinshan Market in the north of Pingyang County. This market is located in the north of Pingyang County. Like Yianfang, it is also a connection between Uyghur and Funiu Mountains. It is the first place for monsters to attack when they go south. The Wang family and Gao family from the 4 major foundation building families are responsible for supporting this place. The other is a Liangshan Lingxi vein, located at the junction of the east side of Qing County and the Yunwu Mountains. This vein was accidentally discovered by a cultivator from a Qi Refining family 100 years ago. It's a pity that a small Qi Refining family does not have the ability to mine this priceless spiritual stone vein, so they can only report the matter to Xiaoyao sect, for which they also received a foundation building peel as a reward. Decades later, a genius with excellent cultivation talent finally appeared in their family. He went to Xiaoyao sect to receive this foundation building pill, and finally successfully built a foundation to upgrade this small Qi refining family to a foundation building family. This is the story of another foundation building family in Qing County, the Liu family. The Lingxi mine has been mined for nearly 100 years. Recently, perhaps affected by the unrest of monsters in the northern border, many monsters in Yunwu Mountain have become agitated and began to walk out of Yunwu Mountain to attack surrounding counties. Liangshan Lingxi mine is very close to Qing County, and this place is particularly important to Qing County. Once it is lost, a large number of Yunwu Mountain monsters will directly enter Qing County. At that time, facing the direct attack of these ferocious monsters, the fate of these immortal cultivation families in Qing County is hard to say. Once the mountain gate is breached by monsters, it will be a disaster for the family. Whether it is a cultivator or a mortal, they will become blood food in the mouth of the monster. Even if some cultivators are lucky enough to escape, they will lose the protection of their families and can only become lower-level casual cultivators in the future. The monks of the Liu and Jin families, who were relatively weak, were responsible for supporting the Liangshan Lingxi mine. Although there were many monsters in Yunwu Mountain, they were much weaker than those from the Fujian Mountains, so the pressure here was less than that in Jinshanfang. In order to make the monks in Qing County feel at ease at home, the number of monks stationed in Qinghofang by Xiaoyao sect increased, and a foundation building monk was added. These Xiaoyao sect monks have begun to close the market and recruit independent cultivators, ready to respond to emergencies in Qing County at any time. Once a cultivator takes advantage of the situation to rob the major immortal families whose defense power has been greatly weakened, these Xiaoyao sect monks in Qinghofang will decisively stop them. The monks of Qing County went north to resist the monsters, and also to protect the survival place of the entire Uyghur people. During this period, if they found someone taking advantage of the situation to rob, Xiaoyao sect would not ignore it. Even if they could not get out for the time being, they would definitely settle accounts later. Not only that, in addition to the two Xiaoyao sect foundation building monks in Qinghofang, the Wang family also left a foundation building monk at home. In total, there are 3 foundation building monks stationed in Qing County. The guarding force is not weak. Even if they encounter a 9th level foundation building master like Wang Shengxin, they can hold on for a few days with the advantage of the terrain. Once the Xiaoyao sect monks come to support, it will be difficult to escape. Under normal circumstances, no foundation building cultivators dare to take this risk, unless they encounter a master above the Jindan level. There are only a few such people in the entire Uyghur, except the Xiaoyao sect. It is impossible for such big figures like them to look down on a small place like Qing County. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109, Incident. The Jinshan Market in the north of Pingayang County is similar to the King Market in Qing County. It is also a market established by the 7 foundation building families in Pingayang County and the Xiaoyao sect above. Song Qingming, who was stationed in Lingyuan Mountain more than 10 years ago, was assigned by his family to participate in the Liu family's employment mission. He passed by this place when he went to the Floating Cloud Mountains. However, their goal at that time was the Floating Cloud Mountains, and they did not enter the Jinshan Market. The area controlled by Pingayang County is slightly larger than that of Qing County in the south. The geographical location is close to the Floating Cloud Mountains, and the cultivation resources are much richer than those in Qing County. Therefore, there are more cultivators active in their territory, almost more than twice that of Qing County. Even if some cultivators temporarily left because of the impending monster turmoil, the number of cultivators is still much greater than that of Qing County. The 7 foundation building families headed by the Cao family control the entire Pingayang County, with a total of 16 foundation building cultivators. At this time, because of the monster attack, most of the cultivators in Pingayang County have gathered in Jinshanfang. In addition, there are some cultivators sent by Xiaoyao sect to assist in the defense of Jinshanfang, including 3 foundation building cultivators and more than 100 Qi refining cultivators. In the past, every time the monsters in the northern border rioted, the first to bear the brunt was Gianfang, which was closer to the Floating Cloud Mountains. The terrain there was flat, and it was also the largest battlefield of the entire monster riot. 70% of the monsters that went south to defend the country would go there. Although smaller towns like Jinshanfang would also be attacked by some monsters that bypassed Qianfang, they were generally first and second level monsters with low intelligence. In the past few hundred years, they had not encountered monsters above level 3, so Xiaoyao sect was not so concerned about the defense here now, and let it go directly to several county cultivators in the nearby Jiangling County. The entire Wei state has 5 counties, among which Jiangling County is located in the northeast, including Qing, Pinggang, Liwang, and Jiangling counties, with a total of several thousand monks. Among the 4 counties, Pinggang County has the strongest overall strength of monks, with 7 foundation-building families and 16 foundation-building monks. Jiangling County is second, with 5 major foundation-building families and 9 foundation-building monks. The remaining Qing County and Liuan County are not much different in strength, with only 5 or 6 foundation-building monks in the territory. Jinshanfang is not only the barrier of Pinggang County, but also the first line of defense for the entire Jiangling County. It is their main battlefield for defending against the monster turmoil. After receiving the order from Xiaoyao sect, the foundation-building families in the other 3 counties of Jiangling County have organized monks to rush to Jinshanfang for support. More than 300 monks from Qing County, led by several foundation-building monks, walked north for several days and entered the scope of Pinggang County. In Qing County, the Gao family and the Wang family often have frictions in order to compete for various cultivation resources. Many of the cultivators below them have bad relations with the affiliated Qi Refining families. When the 2 cultivators just met, Song Qingming also saw several cultivators from the Gao family staring at the Wang family with red eyes. However, now that they are facing the major event of resisting the invasion of monsters, the Wang and Gao families have tacitly issued strict orders to the cultivators below early on, and no one is allowed to find opportunities to cause trouble during the monster turmoil. In the past few days, the 2 cultivators seem to be quite harmonious on the surface. Although the Gao family only has Gao Jin, a foundation-building cultivator, their family still has some good relationships in Xiaoyao sect. Although they have been suppressed by the Wang family in Qing County over the years, they have also firmly established their position as the second largest Immortal cultivation family in Qing County. Song Qingming and the Gao family still have some origins. Gao Yuiao, who exchanged pills with him at the beginning, was a direct descendant of the Gao family. She would occasionally come back to the Gao family in Qing County. Song Qingming had met Gao Yuiao once in Qinghefang a few years ago. However, Gao Yuiao was followed by several Gao family monks at that time. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, he just greeted her from a distance and did not meet her. Later, Song Qingming also inquired about Gao Yuiao's news in the market. He only knew that this woman had returned to Xiaoyao sect to retreat and break through the foundation-building realm, and he didn't know whether she succeeded. When Song Qingming first dealt with Gao Yuiao in Funiu Mountain, the pills that Gao Yuiao traded with him saved him a lot of trouble. Although the 2 of them took what they needed from each other, Song Qingming always had some good feelings for her. It was not until he met her again in Funiu Mountain that Song Qingming knew the difference in status between the 2. At Gao Yuiao's initiative, the 2 became friends, and there was no more communication afterwards. Less than a day after entering Pinggang County, the group discovered something strange. Along the way, they saw many cultivators running to Qing County in the rear. After a Wang family cultivator received the order, he stopped an elderly cultivator and asked him about it. Then the group learned a shocking news: the destination they were going to support, Jinshan Market, had been breached by monsters a day ago. After hearing this news, the cultivators in Qing County suddenly fell into panic and dared not go forward. Many cultivators suggested returning to Qing County immediately. Finally, Wang Shengsan and Gao Jin, 2 foundation-building cultivators, were forced to go out in person and split into 2 directions to inquire about several foundation-building families in nearby Pinggang County. Only then did they know the specific situation in Pinggang County. Yesterday, just as the monks from Qing County reached the border with Pinggang County, a major incident unexpectedly occurred in Jinshanfang. 3 foundation-building monks guarding Jinshanfang were trapped in a valley 100 miles away from Jinshanfang along with more than a dozen Qi Refining monks because they were out chasing a foundation-building monster. This monster riot has been going on for more than 10 days, and it has been 4 or 5 days since the monsters that attacked Jinshanfang appeared. Only some weaker first-level monsters appeared, and the scale of the monsters was not large, with only dozens at a time, and no more than 100 at most. In their opponent Jinshan Fang, there were 700 or 800 Qi Refining monks alone, including more than a dozen foundation-building monks. Without the foundation-building monks taking action, the monks in Jinshan Fang easily repelled 4 or 5 attacks by the monsters and obtained a lot of monster materials. This also made the monks from Qingming County who were guarding this place gradually despise it, and felt that this monster riot was not as terrible as rumored. Unexpectedly, in the early morning of this day, among the dozens of first-level monsters that came to attack the market, a second-level low-grade one-eyed eagle accidentally mixed in. Several foundation-building monks on duty took action and quickly defeated the monster. Just when they wanted to kill the monster, they didn't expect that although the one-eyed eagle was not strong, it was born with a very fast escape speed, and it escaped by chance. Seeing that the duck that had just been in their mouths was about to fly away, the 3 people headed by Zhao Mengzhen and Jinshan Fang were naturally a little unhappy. After discussing with each other, they took the Qi Refining monks below to chase after it. Unexpectedly, when they just chased to a place called Huangling Valley 100 miles away, several second-level monsters suddenly appeared behind them, blocking their way back to Jinshan Fang. Only some Qi Refining monks who were running behind were not entangled by the monsters and fled back to Jinshan Fang in time to report the news. After knowing this news, the dozen foundation-building monks guarding Jinshan Fang discussed it and immediately mobilized a large army of monks to rescue. But what they didn't expect was that just as they, the main force of the defense, arrived at Huangling Valley and rescued the trapped Zhao Mengzhen and others, they suddenly received an extremely urgent message from Jinshan Fang, saying that the market was suddenly attacked by a large number of monsters, and asked them to return to defend. When they returned to the outside of Jinshan Fang, they found that the market formation had been broken by monsters. Except for a few monks who escaped, the few foundation-building monks and 200 Qi Refining monks who stayed in the market to defend were almost wiped out. Chapter 110, Reunion. On Funiu Mountain, a few hundred miles south of Jinshan Fang, more than a dozen foundation-building monks were sitting in a hall. Everyone had a tired look in their eyes and a trace of worry on their faces. A tall and strong man with a thick waist and half-naked said to a short old monk in the upper position, "Old Xiao, the monsters are now strong, and we have lost the defense line of Jinshan Fang. Once the monsters go south again, I am afraid it will be difficult for us to defend here. I don't know how long it will take for the reinforcements of Xiaoao sect to arrive here. Can you send a voice transmission to ask?" The old man's name is Xiao Wanjiang. He is a foundation-building monk of the Xiao family in Qingming County. He is over 190 years old this year and is also the most prestigious among the foundation-building monks present. In order to rescue people quickly and avoid being entangled by the monsters outside, the monks of Jinshan Fang dispatched most of the forces in the market. As soon as they left, the market was attacked by a large number of monsters that had been lurking nearby. Although the monks who stayed in the market tried their best to open the second-level upper-grade formation in the market, they were soon outnumbered and defeated. After the monks who returned to defend the market learned that the market was breached by monsters, the monks of Qingming County asked for a battle to take back Jinshan Fang from the monsters. It was because of his rich experience that he saw that the monster that broke through the market this time was not an ordinary second-level monster, and decisively chose to let everyone retreat, which avoided losing more manpower. When they thought of the white lion with snow-like hair that suddenly flew out of Jinshan Fang not long after they retreated that day, everyone was still a little scared. Unexpectedly, this time, these monks guarding the market were so lucky that they ran into Jinshan Fang. It has been hundreds of years since it was established, and they have never seen a third-level monster king. The third-level demon king has become intelligent and his wisdom is comparable to that of an adult. It is no wonder that they fell into the demon's trap this time. Otherwise, if the main force was in Jinshan Fang, even if a third-level demon king attacked, they would be able to rely on the mountain protection formation in the market to resist and wait for reinforcements from Xiaoao sect. Xiao Wanjiang glanced at the middle-aged Taoist sitting opposite him and saw that he was still keeping his head down and seemed absent-minded, as if he had not heard what everyone had just said. He sighed and said to everyone who was expecting, "Fellow Taoists, please rest assured. We have already sent out a letter for help yesterday. I believe the reinforcements sent by the sect are on the way. Moreover, I just received news that the reinforcements from Qingming and Lingyuan counties are not far from us, and they are expected to arrive later. We still have a dozen Daoists who are in the foundation building stage here, and with the reinforcements from the 2 counties, even if the monsters are heading south now, it should not be a problem for us to hold on here for 3 to 5 days. We just need to wait for Senior Guo to arrive, and we will definitely retake Jinshanfang. Please be patient and wait, fellow Daoist Chuan, don't you agree? After Xiao Wanjiang finished speaking, his eyes turned back to the middle-aged cultivator opposite him, and even the dozen cultivators next to him looked at this person. The middle-aged Taoist priest was named Yuan Feng. He was the leading monk sent by Xiaoao sect to help guard Jinshanfang. He had been cultivating in Xiaoao sect for many years. He was quiet and rarely went down the mountain. Although he had reached the 7th level of foundation building, he had never had his own opinions. After arriving at Jinshanfang, Yuan Feng was basically a spectator every time he participated in the discussion. All matters in the market were based on the opinions of Xiao Wanjiang, a local monk from Pingayang County. Yuan Feng had always disliked this noisy scene. He came to Jinshanfang because his master had some connection with Pingayang County. Seeing that Xiao Wanjiang had directed the conversation to him, he could only sit up straight and said with a smile, "What Elder Xiao said is right. My master has received news that the 3rd level Demon King attacked Jinshanfang. I believe that it won't be long before the sect will appoint an elder to come here. Please rest assured that the cultivators who died or were injured in the Demon Beast riot will receive a pension afterwards, and the sect will not forget every hero who shed blood." Hearing the comforting words of the Xiaoao sect cultivator, everyone felt a little relieved. However, the reinforcements had not arrived yet, and whether they could hold on, the more than a dozen cultivators at the scene, including Xiao Wanjiang, were still unsure. Unexpectedly, as soon as Yuan Feng finished speaking, a cultivator came to report that the cultivators coming to help from Qing County had arrived. For several consecutive days, everyone had been hearing all kinds of bad news, and finally welcomed the first good news. Most of the monks from Pingayang County that Song Qingming and his companions saw along the way had a depressed look on their faces, and they looked like they had just suffered a great defeat. When they saw the monks from other places who came to help, they just nodded at most, and did not show much smile. When they just reached the top of the mountain, Xiao Wanjiang led a group of masters to greet them in person, giving them enough face. Wang Shengxin hurriedly stepped forward and smiled at everyone. "Dao Xiao, I haven't seen you for many years. I didn't expect that you are getting more and more energetic. Wang is really far behind you in this aspect." Xiao Wanjiang nodded and said, "I have finally waited for you, Dao Xiao. Now the situation has changed, and I can't come out of the mountain to greet you. I hope you can understand, we just arrived, and we don't know what the current battlefield situation is. Dao Xiao, can you tell me first?" After being polite, Wang Shengxin quickly raised the biggest question in his mind after entering Pingayang County in the past 2 days. "That's fine. Please come to the hall to have a chat." Xiao Wanjiang invited Wang Shengxin and the other 3 foundation building monks into the meeting hall where they had just been, and told them what had happened in Pingayang County in the past few days. The situation in Pingayang County is now very bad. Jinshanfang, the strongest line of defense in the north, has been breached. Hundreds of monks and tens of thousands of mortals in the market have all fallen into the mouths of monsters. Fortunately, when the monster riots began, most of the mortals in Jinshanfang had moved to other places, otherwise these hundreds of thousands of mortals would not be left behind and would all become blood food for monsters. Not only that, after the monsters breached Jinshanfang, several surrounding Qi Refining families were also attacked. 2 Qi Refining families were unlucky and had their mountain gates breached. They were instantly annihilated, and only a few people escaped. Now that the Demon Beast army has occupied Jinshanfang, it is impossible for them to evacuate this place in a short time. Moreover, there is a 3rd level Demon King behind them to drive these Demon Beasts. Qingming Mountain will soon be attacked by Demon Beasts again. Before they finished talking, good news came soon. The monks from Lingyuan County, led by 4 foundation building monks, had also arrived here. Like the monks from Qing County, these leading foundation building monks did not know what the situation in Pingayang County was now. Xiao Wanjiang hurriedly repeated it to them again, and everyone knew what had happened here in the past few days. The 3 parties joined forces on the Qingming Mountain of the Xiao family, which gave the monks who had withdrawn from Jinshanfang a little confidence. However, the addition of thousands of monks at once made the 2nd level spiritual vein of Qingming Mountain very crowded. The spiritual energy supply on the mountain had long been overwhelmed. Faced with such a situation, Xiao Wanjiang could only arrange for some of the weak family monks and some mortals to move to other spiritual mountains under the control of the Xiao family. Chapter 111 Confrontation. While Xiao Wanjiang was busy settling the monks who came to support him, a monk with the Xiao family's unique fire cloud mark on his clothes hurried over to him and shouted, "Ancestor, the monsters are coming, why are you panicking? Tell us how many monsters are coming, how far away they are from us, and whether you have seen the Monster King appear." Seeing this man panic, Xiao Wanjiang couldn't help but give him a warning. Because of their disastrous defeat in Jinshanfang last time, the morale of the Qi Refining monks below has been somewhat low in recent days, especially some monks who escaped from Jinshanfang. They saw with their own eyes the ferocious appearance of the monsters after they broke through the market. Now when they heard others say that the monsters were heading south, they were all terrified. If it weren't for the pressure from their foundation-building monks on the mountain, these people would have fled south like those casual cultivators. Seeing that his ancestor looked unhappy, the Xiao family cultivator quickly adjusted his state, calmed down, and replied to Xiao Wanjiang, "There are probably 400 or 500 monsters, and there are more than a dozen level 2 monsters in the middle. It is still more than 300 miles away from Funiu Mountain. It is estimated that it will take another half a day. We did not see the White Lion Monster King, but ancestor, we are a little far away, and we are not sure whether the Monster King has followed." After the Xiao family key training cultivator finished speaking, his eyes turned carefully, fearing that the ancestor would not be satisfied with his words. Fortunately, Xiao Wanjiang did not say much after listening, but just waved to him and sent him down first. After receiving the news of the monster attack, Xiao Wanjiang quickly notified all the foundation-building cultivators on Funiu Mountain and began to prepare for the monster attack. Soon after half a day, the noisy roars of monsters came from the foot of Funiu Mountain. Everyone soon saw hundreds of monsters rushing down the mountain, and a trace of heaviness appeared on their faces. Song Qingming had not expected that they had been here for less than a day and had not had time to rest properly before the army of monsters arrived. The scene of hundreds of monsters galloping seemed very majestic. It was the first time that Song Qingming had seen such a suffocating scene. They were high up on the mountain and could see all the monsters coming in clearly. Song Qingming even had some doubts in his heart. He wondered if their biggest support, the mountain protection formation, could withstand the attack of so many monsters at the same time. However, the following scene quickly dispelled his doubts. As soon as these hundreds of monsters rushed to the foot of the mountain, a yellow shield quickly covered the entire Funiu Mountain. Many monsters rushed too fast, and dozens of monsters in front quickly crashed into the yellow shield. Some smaller monsters were bounced aside by the shield and trampled to death by the monsters behind them, who didn't have time to stop. Some larger monsters collided with the yellow shield and turned into a pile of flesh and blood, which turned the yellow shield blood red. Only a dozen of the leading second-level monsters were not affected too much. Seeing that this sacred mountain was protected by a shield, they gathered together and began to attack the yellow shield. Everyone. The formation can only last for an hour at most. Everyone go back and prepare well. Next, it's up to you to go out and stop the monsters first. Xiao Wanjiang directed and controlled the mountain protection formation while speaking to the many foundation-building monks beside him, asking them to prepare for the next counterattack. Although the power of the mountain protection formation on Funiu Mountain is not as powerful as the second-level top-grade formation in Jinshanfang, it is also the best mountain protection formation in Pingayang County. However, if they were to fully activate the formation to cover the entire Funiu Mountain, it would also consume a large amount of spiritual stones. Facing the simultaneous attack of 400 or 500 monsters, they could only activate it for more than an hour at most to weaken the strength of some monsters. There were not many ways to completely rely on the mountain protection formation to repel the monsters' attack. An hour passed quickly, and more than a dozen foundation-building monks quickly flew out of the mountain protection formation and stopped the second-level monsters that were still attacking the formation. Song Qingming and other Qi Refining monks followed the crowd down the mountain at the order of the Wang family monks. Seeing that the monks and monsters below had already started fighting, Xiao Wanjiang on the mountain was also in a dilemma. The monsters had already moved south again. I don't know why the monks sent by Xiao sect came so slowly this time. Fortunately, the White Lion Monster King did not come this time. Otherwise, with these foundation-building Qi Refining cultivators, Even if they opened the mountain protection formation, they could only hold out for a few more hours. Once they lost this line of defense again, most of the territory in Pingayang County would have to be given to these ferocious monsters. This time, they did not make any preparations and fought with the monsters in a muddle. However, the battle had already started, and they could not think too much. The Song family could only bite the bullet. Under the leadership of the old patriarch Song Gushan, everyone jumped out of the yellow shield and killed the nearby monsters. When the monsters outside saw many cultivators running out of the shield, they immediately stopped attacking the yellow shield and pounced on them. Uncle 13 Song Changshan, who had just jumped out of the mountain protection formation, was very unlucky. He was immediately targeted by several monsters around him. Facing the siege of many monsters, even though he was very experienced in fighting, he was forced to be a little flustered and was scratched on the arm by a green wolf. Fortunately, Song Qingming was not far from him. He came to him in time and used the Xiangluo umbrella in his hand to help him block the two monsters, which made him recover. The Song family cultivators who came this time were all experienced and powerful cultivators. They quickly gained a foothold on the battlefield, formed a group and rushed forward while fighting, and soon killed the two monsters. Song Qingming carried a lot of high-quality talismans. As long as he was not too unlucky to be targeted by a second-level monster, it would not be difficult for him to escape from the melee of the first-level monsters alone. The foundation-building cultivators and the second-level monsters in the sky were also fighting happily. The two sides fought back and forth very fiercely. There were also some unlucky low-level cultivators and monsters who were injured by the aftermath of their battle and reluctantly withdrew from the battlefield. Not long after the battle began, the monks began to suffer casualties. Fortunately, the number of monsters coming this time was not too large, only a few hundred. As long as no third-level monsters suddenly appeared, the monks could still handle it. They were afraid that a cunning white lion monster king would hide nearby and attack the mountain protection formation as soon as they came out, just like last time. If that happened, they would slowly lose their foothold. When the two sides were fighting fiercely, a dazzling blue light suddenly flew over the sky of the battlefield. After shaking for a while, the blue light turned into a blue giant sword several feet long, which cut a second-level monster python in the sky into two pieces. At the same time, a strong pressure instantly enveloped the entire battlefield. Chapter 112, Great Victory Over Monsters. Everyone on the battlefield quickly felt the pressure that was far stronger than the dozen or so foundation-building masters present. They all knew instantly that a giant-level warrior had arrived, but they didn't know who it was. Don't be afraid, this is the giant and ancestor of the sect. Follow me and kill them quickly. The end of these monsters has come. A Zioao sect foundation building cultivator who was still fighting a second-level bear monster above the battlefield saw a spirit boat flying in the distance, and shouted excitedly to the many Qi refining cultivators below. The giant python that had just been killed by the blue light, with two pieces of its huge body more than 10 feet long, fell to the ground, scaring away many nearby low-level monsters. The leading dozen of the second-level monsters saw the power of the giant and cultivators, and immediately let out a long roar, leaving their opponents behind and fled backwards. The remaining first-level monsters received the order to retreat, and quickly turned around and began to retreat northward. A moment later, a blue spiritual boat flew over the battlefield from far to near. On the spiritual boat stood more than a dozen monks wearing Zioao sect costumes, and the leader was Zioao sect's golden core elder Lu Boyang. After Lu Boyang arrived at the battlefield in the spiritual boat, he saw that the monster army had begun to retreat, so he did not choose to chase them. He waved and put away the blue magic weapon that had just killed the second-level giant python, and then asked more than a dozen foundation-building monks on the spiritual boat to go down to help, and he went directly to Huan Mountain. Seeing that the monster began to retreat, everyone also began to cheer up and chase forward. They had just fought with a monster for a long time without gaining much advantage. Now they suddenly had the opportunity to beat the drowning bug, so naturally everyone would not let it go. Seeing the reinforcements coming, the monks stationed on Huan Mountain also took the initiative to open the formation and kill them. After chasing northward for more than 10 miles, many monks let go of the monsters that escaped quickly. When they returned to Huan Mountain, Song Qingming found that there were hundreds of corpses lying on the battlefield at the foot of the mountain. Most of them were monsters that came to attack. The bodies of a few human monks who died in the battle had been moved to the side, waiting for the monks from various families to claim them. On Huan Mountain, Dozens of law enforcement monks have been arranged to collect and sort out the corpses of monsters on the battlefield. These are the spoils of this battle. Next, they will be taken out to reward the monks who have contributed to this battle. Long before the previous battle started, the foundation building monks above had discussed the rules for the distribution of spoils. In order to prevent the performance of all monks participating in the battle from being affected, they issued a strict order that the monks participating in the battle could not stop fighting privately in the main battlefield. The materials collected from the corpses of dead monsters must be collected and sorted by the battlefield law enforcement monks organized by Qingming Mountain after the war, and then distributed according to merit. However, when they chased the monsters later, the monster materials they killed individually could belong to each of them. When Song Qingming chased the monsters, he killed a medium-grade monster and earned dozens of spirit stones. In this battle, the cultivators of Qingming Mountain killed nearly 200 first-level monsters and 4 second-level monsters. They only lost more than 20 Qi refining cultivators. According to the battle-loss ratio, it can be regarded as a great victory. After this great victory, the cultivators of Qingming County finally swept away the haze of their disastrous defeat in Jinshanfang a few days ago and restored some of their low morale. However, the victory of Qingming Mountain this time was also because reinforcements came and caught the monsters off guard. This had a great impact on the entire battle situation. Otherwise, even if they could repel this wave of monster attacks, their own losses would definitely not be so little. There were 15 family monks from the Song family who came to Qingming Mountain. Except for 5 people who stayed on the mountain and did not go to the battlefield, no monks who went to the battlefield this time died. Only 2 clansmen, including the 13th uncle Song Changshan, were injured. The 2 of them could not go to the battlefield again. They had to recover for a period of time to heal their injuries. In the meeting hall of the Cao family in Qingming Mountain, Cao Wanjiang, who was at the 9th level of the foundation building, had changed his seat to the lower position and gave his main seat above to Lu Boyang, the giant in Zhenren. In addition to the dozen foundation building monks brought by Lu Boyang, more than 20 foundation building monks on the mountain had gathered here. Everyone looked at Lu Boyang sitting above. Unlike the previous meetings in the hall, which were full of noise, they all consciously shut their mouths and dared not make a sound. This also made Yuan Feng, who was sitting opposite Cao Wanjiang, feel a rare quiet atmosphere. After LV Boyang glanced at the people below, he said, "What's going on in Jinshanfang? Are you sure it's a level 3 white lion demon king that has come here? There has never been a level 3 white lion in the floating cloud mountains. Could it be a demon king that came from somewhere else?" Yuan Feng, who had been silent all this time, was the first to reply, reporting to Master, "I and all the Taoist friends saw with our own eyes that day that it was indeed a white lion demon king that broke through Jinshanfang. This can be confirmed, according to the description of Taoist friend Chen who escaped from the market. The aura of this white lion demon king is not very strong. I think this white lion is commanding many low-level demon beasts, with dozens of level 2 demon beasts alone. It should not be from outside. It is estimated that this demon king should have advanced to level 3 in the last few decades, so it is unknown." The experienced Cao Wanjiang also quickly added his guess. After LV Boyang sat in thought for a while, he nodded to Cao Wanjiang, somewhat agreeing with his point of view. During this turmoil, several demon kings from the floating cloud mountains have not yet gone. I thought that the 9-pattern dragon, which has not yet appeared, came here and came to track this demon. I think the evil beast must have gone somewhere else. It doesn't matter. Since we are here, we can't make a wasted trip. You should organize your manpower in the next few days. Come with me in 5 days to take back Jinshanfang. I will follow the orders of the senior." After hearing Lu Boyang's instructions, the cultivators of Qingming County, led by Cao Wanjiang, showed their long-lost smiles. Since the white lion captured Jinshanfang, the low-level demon beasts under its command have attacked everywhere in Qingming County these days, and have destroyed several Qi refining immortals near Jinshanfang. If this demon beast is not driven out, the north of Qingming County will inevitably become a ruin. Even if they can take back these territories after the demon beast turmoil ends, it will take at least 100 years to recover. When the monsters break through Lingshan, except for a few cultivators who can escape alone, most of the cultivators and mortals will fall into the mouths of the monsters. Once a large number of mortals are lost and fresh blood cannot be replenished, the number of cultivators in the county will naturally decrease significantly in the next few decades. By then, the overall strength of Qingming County will decline. The next time the monsters attack, they will definitely have a harder time. LV Boyang's cultivation has reached the 4th level of the Golden Core, and his status in the Xiaoyao sect is not low. With his strength, it should not be difficult to repel the White Lion Demon King in Jinshin Fang, which has just advanced not long ago. For this point, the many foundation building cultivators present naturally have no doubts. Soon, the cultivators below received the order to prepare to attack Jinshin Fang, and Haiyan Mountain also began to get busy, starting to prepare various materials and preparing to go out to retake Jinshin Fang, an important market. Chapter 113, Counterattack on Jinshin Fang. Since the human cultivators set foot on the continent of Donghuang Xianzhao 100,000 years ago, after generations of expansion, the human cultivators have continuously seized large tracts of living territory from the original overlord monsters. In the heyday, there were traces of human activities on both sides of the continent, and most of Donghuang Xianzhao was the territory of the human race. Until 30,000 years ago, this world was invaded by the real demons of the demon world. The real demons wanted to sacrifice a magic weapon in this world, killing hundreds of millions of cultivators and mortals, and killing people wherever they went. In order to defend this world and expel the real demons, the high-level cultivators from all over the world in the human world united to fight a great battle with the real demons. The battle lasted for hundreds of years, and finally even asked the real immortals who had ascended to the upper world to help, and finally successfully expelled the real demons. Although the human world finally won this battle, the human cultivators also paid a huge price, and even most of the highest level incarnation cultivators died in the battle. In that battle, the monks of Donghuang Xianzhao also lost several divine transformation monks at once. For a while, the power comparison between the local human race and the demon race was unbalanced. The strength of the human monks declined a lot, and the demon beasts gradually began to gain the upper hand. In the past 30,000 years, due to the weakness of the human race, the power has been shrinking, and the demon beasts have also begun to gradually encroach on the human race. A few years ago, Song Qingming read a book in Yianfang that recorded that 10,000 years ago, the entire floating cloud mountain range was still the territory of the human race. At that time, the floating cloud mountain range had beautiful mountains and rivers, many spiritual lands, and many large sects of the human race were located. In a large-scale invasion of demon beasts in the northern border 10,000 years ago, the human race was defeated and hundreds of sects were destroyed at once, which is why the floating cloud mountain range, a great holy land for cultivation, was lost. After occupying the floating cloud mountains for more than 10,000 years, the monsters gradually gained a foothold. Starting from more than 2,000 years ago, the monsters in the floating cloud mountains began to invade the south again. Several neighboring countries, including Uyghur, also began to lose their peace. Every 100 years, they had to withstand the impact of a large-scale southward movement of monsters. Because of the strength of the previous generation of the nascent soul patriarch of Xiaoyao sect 1,000 years ago, Uyghur forced the Golden Feather Demon King in the Floating Cloud Mountains to sign a non-aggression agreement. When the monsters rioted, the nascent soul-level combat power of both sides could not attack at will, which controlled the monster riots that occurred once 100 years to below the nascent soul level. It is also for this reason that the influence of the monster riots in Uyghur for nearly 1,000 years has been controlled in several counties in the north, and very few monsters can enter the core hinterland of Uyghur. In Jinshin Fang, seeing that the monster army he sent out was beaten to pieces and fled back, the White Lion Demon King roared angrily. Bit a second-level wolf demon that had just escaped, and soon swallowed the unlucky monster into his stomach. Thousands of low-level monsters nearby were trembling with fear, and quickly crawled on the ground, making soft roars for mercy. There are more than a dozen level 3 monsters in the area near Uyghur, in the Floating Cloud Mountains. Every time there is a riot, the leaders are basically these monster kings, and there are very few monster kings from outside. Xiaoyao sect has been fighting with these monster kings for thousands of years, and is very familiar with their details. Xiao Wanjian guessed correctly. This White Lion Monster King is indeed not from outside. It has been in seclusion in the Floating Cloud Mountains for nearly 100 years. It only broke through to the Golden Core realm 30 years ago. It is also because the White Lion Monster King does not often come out that Xiaoyao sect has not noticed this monster in recent years. Although the White Lion Monster King has a somewhat cruel personality, it is considered a hard-working cultivator among monsters. It has practiced for hundreds of years and rarely walks out of its territory. The reason why it left its territory this time is because it has a direct descendant that has been carefully cultivated for many years, and it accidentally died in the hands of human cultivators a few years ago. The monks of Qing County, including Song Qingming, did not know that the second-level white lion they killed in Qi Mountain a few years ago was the most beloved direct bloodline of the White Lion Demon King. Otherwise, even if someone borrowed a few courage from the Wang family, they would not dare to deliberately anger the Demon King. A few days later, the monks of Funiu Mountain, who had already prepared, began to walk down Funiu Mountain and headed towards Jinshanfang. This time, in order to recapture Jinshanfang, the monks of Funiu Mountain came out in full force. A total of more than 40 foundation-building monks and more than 1,000 Qi Refining monks came. Lu Boyang, the Jindan's Henren, also hid behind the team. The sporadic monsters encountered along the way were frightened and ran away when they saw such a large team. Funiu Mountain was not far from Jinshanfang, and the crowd did not encounter many monsters blocking them along the way, and soon arrived outside Jinshanfang. Following LV Boyang's order, dozens of foundation-building monks flew out of the team and headed for Jinshanfang first. The Qi Refining monks behind them were also divided into more than a dozen teams and followed behind these foundation-building monks. Some low-level monsters wandering outside the market saw the human monks attacking and quickly roared to notify other monsters in the market. Soon, waves of noisy roars came from the entire market. Groups of monsters rushed out of Jinshanfang, and the two sides soon fought together. Although there were many monsters in Jinshanfang, their overall strength was still slightly inferior to that of the Haiyanshan monks. Moreover, the monks fought more organized, and some monks with formations formed some formations to fight the enemy, which was much more flexible than the monsters in the battle. In this battle, Song Qingming also used a common Sankei Hiki formation. Together with the old patriarch Song Gushan and the ninth uncle Song Changsan, two of the Song family's highest cultivators, they formed a formation to block the rest of the Song family cultivators, blocking some of the monsters' magic attacks for them. This formation has both offensive and defensive capabilities. After the three of them activated the formation, any one of them could quickly borrow the magic power of the other two to fight the enemy. Even if the three of them were separated, they could still provide support to each other at any time. After the battle at Funiu Mountain, Song Qingming spent a few days making it temporarily using the ability of the remaining map on his body. This time, all 12 members of the Song family went to the battlefield. The 13th uncle Song Changshan and the 5th brother Song Qingyuan, who were injured in the previous battle, did not come because they were still recovering from their injuries. The patriarch Song Gushan also applied to the Wang family to specially leave the 8th brother Song Qingzhen, who had a lower cultivation level, on Funiu Mountain to help take care of the injured too. Although the Wang family is quite strict in managing their subordinate families, this time they are recruiting cultivators from the 4 counties of Jiangling County. Under the premise of not violating the Xiaoyao sex recruitment principles, they are naturally willing to take care of their subordinate families. After all, this time they are not coming out for the benefit of their own Wang family. After Song Gushan spoke to the Wang family cultivators, he stuffed them with a few more talismans, and soon got Song Qingzhen a place to stay in Funiu Mountain. Not long after the battle started here, the White Lion Demon King flew out of the Jinshan Square. Seeing that the human cultivators were attacking the market, the White Lion Demon King opened his mouth and spit out a stream of ice wind, instantly freezing more than a dozen unlucky cultivators who were close to it on the battlefield into ice sculptures. Just as the White Lion Demon King was showing off his might, a blue light also slashed beside him. The White Lion Demon King hurriedly released his protective spiritual light to block this fierce attack, but he still underestimated the power of this blue light. Although he blocked most of the attacks, a cut was still made on his body, and a blood-red color also overflowed from his snow-white hair. Evil beast, if you want to fight so much, let me play with you. As the blue light just disappeared in the air, LV Boyang, holding a blue sword in his hand, suddenly appeared in the sky above the battlefield and confronted the White Lion Demon King in the air. After seeing the shocking methods of these two, the nearby monks and monsters stayed away from this battlefield. The battle at the Jindan level is not a joke. Even if the Qi Refining monks were shocked by the aftermath of their battle, they would die on the spot. Chapter 114, The Monster Retreats. After all, the White Lion Demon King had only recently broken through the Jindan realm, and there was still a big gap between his strength and that of Lu Boyang, who was at the 4th level of the Jindan realm. After a short battle, the Demon King, who had been so powerful in the floating cloud mountains for many years, quickly fell into disadvantage. Unlike the low-level demon beasts below who only knew how to act recklessly, the third-level demon beasts had already fully awakened their spiritual intelligence and were no different from ordinary people. The White Lion Demon King naturally knew how to make choices. After fighting for dozens of rounds, he knew that he was no match for Lu Boyang, so he quickly chose to abandon the demon beasts in the Jinshan Fang below, fighting and retreating as he tried to flee northward. Seeing that the White Lion Demon King was about to flee, Lu Boyang thought for a moment, and with a flash of spiritual light on his body, he chased after him. The demon beast in front of him had just broken through the third level not long ago, and its strength was not strong. If he could seize this opportunity when it was alone and kill this demon, he would be able to reduce a powerful opponent for the human cultivators in the future. Most of the demon kings above level 3 are active in the deep of the dangerous floating cloud mountains. Even giant and level masters like Lu Boyang dare not rashly go deep into the mountains to hunt level 3 demon kings. If they accidentally encounter a unyielding level demon king, they will die after practicing for hundreds of years. Therefore, for Lu Boyang, the opportunity to kill a level 3 demon king is not always available, and he certainly does not want to miss this rare opportunity. Moreover, the demon beast materials on the level 3 demon beasts are invaluable, and the level 3 materials on the White Lion Demon King and the Demon King Inner Pill that can be used to refine the foundation building pill are enough to make this giant and cultivator excited. There's more than one recipe for foundation building pills in this world. In addition to the 5 elements fruit and jade marrow gold ganoderma, the inner pill in the body of a third level monster can also become the main ingredient of the foundation building pill. There are many places in the world of immortal cultivation where spiritual medicine is scarce. The refining of foundation building pills depends entirely on the cultivators to hunt down golden elixir level monsters. The inner pill of a third level monster can not only replace the 2 main ingredients in the foundation building pill, but the direct refining of the inner pill of the monster by the golden elixir cultivators is also very helpful for breaking through the realm. After LV Boyang and the White Lion Demon King, 1 man and 1 beast flashed in the air for a few times, they quickly both left the battlefield of Jinshan Fang. The battle in Jinshan Fang below has now reached a white-hot stage. The battlefield is very cruel, with bloody monsters and cultivator corpses everywhere. The scale of this battle is even larger than the battle at Funiu Mountain. The 2 sides have been fighting for less than half an hour, and nearly 100 cultivators from Funiu Mountain alone have fallen on the battlefield. The Song family was fine at first. With the help and protection of the Sankei Hiki formation set up by Song Qingming and the other 2. They killed several monsters in succession and no one was injured. However, as time went on, their good luck soon ran out. A dozen powerful giant lizard monsters suddenly rushed over from the front, disrupting the control of the 3 Song family members on the Sankei Hiki formation and easily breaking through the defense line set up by Song Qingming. Fortunately, the 3 people who controlled the formation had high cultivation and successfully avoided the attack with their own body skills. The Song family members behind the formation were not so lucky. They were soon hit by a fierce attack from this large wave of giant lizards. Although Song Qingming and others came to the rescue in time and quickly repelled this wave of monsters, several Song family cultivators fell down in an instant after being hit by this wave of monsters. 11th Uncle Song Changying's chest was completely shattered by the monsters and he died on the spot without leaving a word. Seeing the miserable state of their clansmen, who had lived with him day and night, the Song family members all had red eyes. The 14th uncle, who had the best relationship with the 11th uncle, burst into tears while holding his body. However, they had no time to grieve on this dangerous battlefield. In addition to the 11th uncle who had died in the battle, the 5th aunt Song Changling and the 4th brother Song Qingru were also seriously injured and were no longer able to fight. Song Gushan quickly suppressed the grief in his heart and arranged 2 people to quickly send them to the law enforcement monks behind the battlefield. In order to prevent monks from daring to be treacherous and escaping from the battle, the Xiaoyao sect would arrange a group of more loyal law enforcement monks to supervise the entire battlefield in order to prevent monks from daring to be treacherous and escaping in the battle. In addition to supervising the battlefield, the law enforcement monks also need to evaluate the performance of each monk on the battlefield during the entire battle, which will be used to evaluate the merits and demerits of each monk after the battle. In addition, they also need to urgently treat some seriously injured monks who retreated from the battlefield to minimize the death of monks after the battle. The escape of the White Lion Demon King also began to affect some of the monsters on the battlefield. There were less than 30 second level monsters in Jinqianfang, which was less than the number of the Huiyan Mountain cultivators. In less than half an hour, 2 more monsters died at the hands of the human race. Seeing that the White Lion Demon King had escaped, the leading second-level high-quality monsters stopped fighting so hard and began to retreat. The movement of the second-level monsters above gradually affected the entire battlefield. The army of monsters began to slowly and orderly withdraw to Jinqianfang. When the many cultivators fighting below saw that the monsters had begun to retreat, their morale suddenly rose. Soon, many cultivators passed some slower monsters and rushed into Jinqianfang. After Jinqianfang was occupied by monsters, it had become a ruin, but many spiritual objects that were originally here had no effect on the monsters. There must be many spiritual objects hidden in Jinqianfang. For these low-level cultivators, this is a good opportunity to turn things around. If they are lucky, they may make a fortune immediately. As the army of monsters gradually retreated, the Song family also rushed to Jinqianfang. Soon after entering the market, Song Qingming found that many cultivators in the market had become chaotic. The cultivators who had rushed into Jinqianfang before had begun to search everywhere in the market. The fastest ones were the foundation-building cultivators with strong magic power, especially those cultivators from Pingayang County who had shops in the market. As soon as they rushed into Jinqianfang, they abandoned the monsters and began to look for their original shops in the market. Lu Boyang and the White Lion Demon King left Jinqianfang one after another, and fought several times on the road. Although the White Lion Demon King tried his best to use all his magical powers, he could not gain any advantage from Lu Boyang. The speed of the Jinden cultivator was much faster than that of the foundation-building cultivator. Soon, the two flew away for dozens of miles. Lu Boyang actually kept his strength all the way. Through constant fighting, he also forced the White Lion Demon King to use all his means. He did not force the White Lion Demon King too hard because he wanted to consume it first. The battle between Jinden cultivators is different from the foundation building and Qi refining levels. There is no absolute strength suppression. If you push your opponent too hard, you will easily suffer a disparate counterattack from the opponent. If you want to kill the White Lion Demon King, Lu Boyang needs to wait for a better opportunity. Just after chasing over a hill, a white mist suddenly appeared in front of him. The white mist spread quickly and soon covered the space within a few dozen feet around Lu Boyang. Seeing that the surroundings suddenly turned into a vast expanse of white, Lu Boyang in the sky instantly lost his direction. Just as he wanted to rush forward out of the white mist, Lu Boyang saw a dignified Taoist in white clothes suddenly walked out of the white mist in front of him, looking at him with a smile on his face. "Master, why are you here?" Seeing the person coming, Lu Boyang was shocked and blurted out the words in his mouth. Chapter 115 Nine-Patterned Dragon. After the Huiyan Mountain monks entered the market, they quickly drove the monsters out of Jinqianfang and recaptured the market that had been lost for almost half a month. After most of the monks entered Jinqianfang, more than 40 foundation-building monks led by the upper level began to issue orders one after another to sort out the chaotic Qi refining monks in the market and asked everyone to gather at the central square of the market. The local monks of Pingayang County, led by Xiao Wanjiang, quickly dispatched some Qi refining monks to maintain the chaotic order in the market and collect various spiritual objects that originally belonged to them in Jinqianfang. The monks who rushed into Jinqianfang first were all strong monks. These people had searched in the market and obtained some spiritual objects. Xiao Wanjiang and his men also acquiesced to this and did not care about it. After all, these people's cultivation was not low. Most of them were elite monks brought by various parties. They were also meritorious people who helped them recapture Jinqianfang. Once they did something too ugly and offended the monks in the surrounding counties, it would not be so easy to expect others to come to their 8,000s of miles away next time. The dozen or so Xiaoao sect foundation building monks who followed LV Boyang didn't look down on the low-level spiritual objects in the market, and were discussing how to repair the mountain protection formation in Jinqianfang. Although they repelled the White Lion Demon King this time, the monster turmoil was far from over. Jinqianfang would definitely be attacked by monsters again. If they wanted to quickly restore this line of defense, they had to quickly repair the mountain protection formation in the market. After walking around Jinqianfang, Song Qingming realized that he came in too late. Now the market was already the territory of the monks of Pingayang County. After receiving the order from Xiao Wanjiang, These local monks quickly united together and strictly prohibited these foreign monks from searching for spiritual objects in the ruins of the original Jinshanfang shops. Seeing the gathering order issued by the Wang family in the sky, seeing that there was no chance of picking up leaks, Song Qingming simply returned directly to the place he had agreed with everyone when they just dispersed. Soon, the other Song family cultivators also returned to the meeting place. As expected, no one had any gains. Only Uncle Nine Song Changson found a medium-grade magic weapon of low value. Song Qingming could only smile with everyone and go directly to the center of the market to gather. The cultivator in charge of inspecting the Jinshanfang Mountain Protection Array was Ho Chen, a foundation-building cultivator from the Xiaoyao sect. He was a second-level medium-grade array master and the one with the highest array level among the cultivators present. Ho Chen looked around the market and returned to the square with a trace of sadness on his face. Fellow Taoist Ho, what do you think? Is the original array seriously damaged? Can it be repaired? Seeing that Ho Chen's face was a little wrong, Xiao Wanjiang asked with some concern. Ho Chen shook his head and said, "It's indeed quite serious. The patterns on the core of this formation have been damaged more than a dozen times. It's really troublesome to repair it. I'm definitely unable to do it alone. I need to find some formation masters to cooperate with me. This will be faster. Also, a lot of special materials are needed to repair this formation. I can't do it without these things." Hearing Ho Chen's words, Tian Qinghu, a foundation-building cultivator from the Xiaoyao sect, hurried over. This person's cultivation had reached the 9th level of foundation building, and he was also the person with the highest cultivation among the dozen or so Xiaoyao sect cultivators present. "Brother Ho, we have plenty of manpower here. It's not difficult to find dozens of formation masters. We will ask the formation masters of each family to gather together. You can just go and pick them. As for the materials for repairing the formation, let's give the materials for repairing the formation to Pingayang County. I will ask Brother Ho to help make a list of the required materials. I will discuss with the other cultivators in the county and send them over as quickly as possible." Seeing that Tian Qinghu's eyes were about to fall on him, Xiao Wanjiang, who had practiced Taoism for many years, quickly spoke up and agreed to this matter. Seeing that Xiao Wanjiang was so sensible, Tian Qinghu smiled and nodded to him. "That's it. Let's hurry up and prepare. If we can repair the mountain protection formation earlier, everyone will feel more at ease." After the discussion, everyone got busy. Each family began to command the cultivators to continue cleaning the battlefield. Ho Chen also selected dozens of formation masters from the crowd and began to repair the damaged formation eyes around the market one by one. Song Qingming's formation level was not bad, so he was also selected. After Xiao Wanjiang got the list of materials for repairing the formation from Ho Chen, the major foundation building families in Pingayang County quickly notified the monks left behind at home to start transporting materials. After all, Jinshanfang was their property, and Xiaoyao sect's help in repairing the formation was already a great help to them. Pure heart platform. "Give it to me, break it." A ball of blue light quickly burst out from Lu Boyang's hand, instantly dispelling the white mist surrounding him. As the white mist in front of him dissipated, the head of Xiaoyao sect who had appeared in front of Lu Boyang before also disappeared. Sure enough, he had just been hit by the magic of the monster. Lu Boyang quickly glanced around and saw a green dragon several dozen feet long, spewing a transparent white mist several dozen feet below. "Nine-striped dragon, you've come at the right time." Seeing the nine-striped dragon in front of him, Lv Boyang felt something was wrong. This dragon was also a third-level demon king, and had been practicing for thousands of years. He was especially good at using psychedelic techniques to control people's minds. His strength was not comparable to that of the White Lion Demon King. Just the dragon in front of him was enough to give him a headache, not to mention that there was a white lion staring at him not far away. Meeting two demon kings at once was really unexpected for him. Not only that, dust had already risen in the sky not far ahead. It seemed that the nine-striped dragon had brought a lot of demon beasts. This place was only a few dozen miles away from Jinshanfang. At most, these demon beasts would arrive at Jinshanfang in half an hour. Once the cultivators on the front battlefield of Jinshanfang encountered a counterattack from the demon beasts, they would definitely suffer heavy losses. Without these cultivators, not to mention Jinshanfang and Funiu Mountain, the entire Pingayang County and even Jiangling County would fall directly into the hands of the demon beasts. Thinking of this, LV Boyan quickly took out a high-level sound transmission talisman and sent a sound transmission to notify the cultivators still in Jinshanfang to evacuate quickly. He himself went straight to meet the two demon kings in the sky. While everyone in Jinshanfang was still busy, Tian Qinghu, who was sitting in the square, suddenly received a sound transmission from LV Boyan to evacuate, which made him stand up in panic. Seeing that Tian Qinghu's face was not right, a foundation-building cultivator of Xiaoyao sect beside him hurriedly asked, "Brother Tian, but Uncle Lu has a letter. Has he killed the White Lion Demon King?" Uncle Lu didn't say much in the letter, just told us to evacuate Jinshanfang quickly. What happened? We finally took back this place. Why do we have to evacuate again? Seeing that the brother next to him was still reluctant to give up Jinshanfang, Tian Qinghu shook his head and didn't say anything more. He immediately informed Xiao Wanjiang and others of the news. Xiao Wanjiang was a little bit unconvinced when he heard the news, but after all, he had experienced 200 years of hardships and could still distinguish the priorities of things. Without much hesitation, he immediately began to notify the monks in the market to evacuate. Although he issued the order quickly, the monks below did not execute it so well. The major families in Pingayang County were still cleaning up the spiritual objects in their own shops. After receiving the news, the monks below were reluctant to part with the spiritual objects that had not been collected yet, and they dragged their feet and did not execute the order in time. The monks who were responsible for cleaning the battlefield outside the market were also reluctant to part with the monster materials that had not been collected yet. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, Shocking Change. Before the monks in the market could fully react, the roar of a large number of monsters attacking the north of Jinshanfang was heard. Dozens of level 2 monsters flying in the air were not far from Jinshanfang, followed closely by level 1 bird monsters with extremely fast speed. Many monks who had not yet evacuated the market panicked when they saw the scene of millions of monsters galloping in front of them. They began to run out of the market in a panic. For a while, the market was in chaos again. Song Qingming and other monks who were repairing the formation around the market received the evacuation message late. Before they could return to the market to gather, the army of monsters had already appeared in their sight. Seeing that the market was in chaos, several monks who were traveling with him had chosen to turn around and flee in other directions. Song Qingming did not think much about it and chose a direction to go away from Jinshanfang. Now that the market is in such a mess, I can't go back to find the old patriarch and his men. Now everyone has received the order to retreat. The monster army has already arrived outside the city. The old patriarch and his men will definitely not stay there waiting for me. Long before going down the mountain, the old patriarch had specifically told each of them that once it comes to this life and death moment, everyone must make their own choices decisively and not put everyone in danger because of one person. I hope everyone can evacuate safely this time. Ignoring the roars coming from afar, Song Qingming sped up and ran towards a small hill on the west side of Jinshanfang. After running more than half of the way, several fist-sized fireballs suddenly fell from the sky behind him. After Song Qingming turned sideways to avoid them, he looked back and saw that a fire crow beast attacked him in the sky. The fire crow beast was not big and its attack ability was average. It only knew some simple fire spells, but this bird monster could fly directly in the sky, and its speed was much faster than they could run on the ground. Most of the monsters in the front had already killed their way to the Jinshan square, and some had already begun to chase the monks who were fleeing to the sides of the square. Song Qingming ran forward while carefully changing his body shape to avoid the attacks of the fire crow beasts behind him. Although these fire crow beasts had weak attack ability, they were really fast, and it was difficult to get rid of them in this open space. Fortunately, he was not far from the destination hill. As long as he ran into the dense jungle under the hill in front, he could temporarily get rid of these annoying flying monsters. Seeing that he was getting closer and closer to the jungle, Song Qingming was about to breathe a sigh of relief, but two more fire crow beasts flew over, and several fierce fireballs suddenly blocked his way forward. Seeing that the situation was not good, Song Qingming gritted his teeth and raised his hand to release the Xianluo umbrella. He directly opened the Xianluo umbrella and took on these attacks and jumped forward with all his strength. After several loud noises, although Song Qingming was burned in several places and his clothes were burned by the fireball, he still rushed through the blockade with his brute force, and rolled forward with the smoke from the firelight and went directly into the jungle. After circling above the jungle for several times, the fire crow beasts saw that they could not find any trace of Song Qingming, so they had to leave reluctantly to look for other prey. At the same time, the entire Jinshan Fang was surrounded by monsters. The Huanshan monks had lost many monks with great effort. The Jinshan Fang, which had just been recaptured, fell into the hands of monsters again. 2 days later, Song Qingming sat on a huge rock by a small river more than 300 miles away from Jinshan Fang, with a tired face, and a burst of yellow spiritual light emanated from his body from time to time. After a while, he put away his spiritual power, carefully checked the wrong part of his body, got up and went into the water to wipe his dirty cheeks. After escaping from Jinshan Fang that day, he resisted several attacks from the fire crow beast. Although the Xianluo umbrella blocked most of the attacks, he was still burned in several places. After taking the elixir, the external injuries have been healed. The reason why his face still looks a little haggard is that there is still some fire poison from the fire crow beast in his body. It will take some time to slowly guide it with magic power to completely eliminate it from the body. In order to avoid the monster beasts in the past 2 days, he did not choose to go directly south, but walked west for 2 days and arrived here. Now the monster beasts are strong and have occupied Jinshan Fang again. They will definitely attack south again. Going directly south is not to think about it. It is very likely that they will encounter the monster army again. In his current state, if he is entangled by the monster beast alone, it will be even more difficult to get away. Song Qingming estimated in his mind that this place should be far enough away from the monster army. Next, he should be able to bypass the monster army by turning south and return to Funiu Mountain to meet up with the old patriarch and others earlier. After running around in the mountains for 2 consecutive days, he felt a little tired. After finding a relatively hidden tree by the river, he carefully arranged a simple magic circle. Song Qingming planned to rest here for a night and prepare to set off for Funiu Mountain after he had rested enough. However, less than half an hour after he closed his eyes, he suddenly heard a slight movement from the river in the distance, which woke him up. There were only wild mountains and wilderness nearby, and it was impossible for mortals to live here. Song Qingming thought that a monster appeared nearby, so he quietly went out to check, but found a figure lying by the river. When he got closer, he saw that he was right. There was indeed a cultivator lying by the river, but the breath on this person was very weak, like a dead person, and his cultivation level could not be seen. After a slight hesitation, Song Qingming released the Thunder Tiger puppet beast on his body and carried the person to his temporary residence. After entering the formation he had arranged, Song Qingming carefully went forward to check the situation, and then stood in a daze in the distance. Just now, when he was by the river, it was already dark, and he didn't get too close. He thought that this person was also a cultivator who had just escaped from Jinshan Fang. Now he found that this person was wearing the gray Taoist robe unique to Xiaoyao sect. Those who wear this style of clothing must be Xiaoyao sect foundation building cultivators. Song Qingming knew this as early as when he was in Yianfang. He didn't expect that this person was actually a Xiaoyao sect senior who had already established his foundation. After understanding this, Song Qingming was stunned for a moment. This time, he really got himself into big trouble with good intentions. A Xiaoyao sect foundation building cultivator died in front of him. Xiaoyao sect would definitely send someone to investigate this matter. If he couldn't explain this matter clearly in the future, the entire Song family might suffer a catastrophe. Just as Song Qingming was thinking hard about a good plan, the Xiaoyao sect foundation building cultivator lying next to him suddenly opened his eyes and woke up, looking around with some confusion. Seeing that the senior suddenly woke up, Song Qingming was frightened and took a few steps back, and then said happily, "It's great that the senior is okay. I am a cultivator from Qing County. I passed by here and happened to see the senior in trouble, so I carried the senior from the river to here. I don't know if the senior's injury is serious. Do you need me to go to Xiaoyao sect to pass on a message for you?" After Song Qingming explained the matter of saving him, the Xiaoyao sect's foundation building senior took out a small jade box from the storage bag very weakly. It was probably because his injuries were too serious. He raised his hand and then fell down again, and the jade box in his hand fell to the side and onto the ground. Up, the man looked at Song Qingming in front of him weakly, and then raised one hand and pointed at the jade box with all his strength. He just said a word, but he didn't expect that the next word was silent. Chapter 117 Escape. Senior. Seeing his hands suddenly drop down and no movement, Song Qingming hurried forward to check, only to find that the aura of this senior had completely dissipated, and this time his soul really returned to the underworld. In just a short moment, Song Qingming's heart experienced ups and downs. After picking up this man by the river, he thought he was involved in an unexplainable trouble this time. Later, he saw this man suddenly wake up. Although Song Qingming was a little scared, he was still very glad that he could finally get rid of this problem. Unexpectedly, he died in front of him before he could say a word. Song Qingming was really dumbfounded this time, and his heart was very depressed. This person was so seriously injured, and he ran into the deep mountains. It was possible that he was chased by his enemies on the way. It seemed that this place was not safe. If his enemies saw that he had seen her, he would definitely be caught in the crossfire. Thinking of this, Song Qingming quickly collected the storage bag and the jade box on his body, and hastily buried his body in a pile of gravel at the foot of the mountain. Don't blame me, Senior. The situation is dangerous now. I can't stay here for long. I will go to Xiaoyao sect to report this matter one day, and then I will collect your body. I hope that your spirit in heaven will protect me so that I can get out smoothly this time. After bowing his head to pay tribute to this senior, Song Qingming quickly turned around and left. Song Qingming had just walked for less than an hour when 3 foundation building cultivators found the river on flying swords. One of the handsome young men took a careful look by the river and said to the other man and woman next to him, "Yes, the aura has indeed reached here. It seems that he can't hold on any longer and the poison has taken effect. That's why he wants to use the river water as a cover to escape our pursuit. No matter what, we must not let him escape alive, otherwise, once the sect knows about this, we will be in big trouble." The speaker was the foundation building woman among the 3. She had a veil on her face, so her appearance could not be seen clearly. After hearing this, the young man suddenly laughed and said, "Brother Hu, you are in big trouble, right? We too are not from Uyghur. Even if Xiaoyao sect knows about this in the future, the worst that can happen is that we will stay away from Uyghur. But Brother Hu, you, for the sake of coveting the spiritual object on that person, conspired with us to kill the Xiaoyao sect's foundation building cultivator. I'm afraid there will be no place for you in Uyghur in the future. Brother, you are not regretting it now, are you?" The woman looked at him with displeasure and continued, "Since he has already taken action, what's the point of regretting it now? I'm also afraid that this person has already escaped and attracted Xiaoyao sect cultivators, and it will be difficult for us to get away. Haha, this man has been hit by our sky poison palm, so he will definitely not be able to get out of the mountain. Fellow Taoist Hu, don't worry too much. It's just that the monsters are causing chaos right now, and there are traces of monster activities everywhere in the mountain. We're afraid that after his death, his body will enter the belly of a monster and disappear, and all our plans will be in vain." The last older man comforted the 2 of them. Then sighed as he looked at the pitch-black mountain in the night sky. After thinking for a while, the young man said, "Now that things have come to this, let's not waste any more time. Fellow Taoist Hu, you go upstream, Senior Brother Zhu goes downstream, and I will check around. No matter whether he is dead or alive, we will immediately send a message after finding him. We will meet here in 3 days. Whether we can find him or not, we must leave Uyghur as soon as possible." The other 2 nodded in agreement with his opinion. A flash of white light appeared at the scene, and the 3 of them quickly disappeared from the spot. Song Qingming had only run a few dozen miles away when he saw a sword light suddenly escape in the sky. Song Qingming immediately used the breath-holding technique to hide under a big tree nearby. After the sword light in the sky circled around a few times, it did not find anything and soon disappeared from his sight. Song Qingming then stood up and ran desperately south. After Song Qingming saw the sword light, he suddenly became nervous again. It was obvious that the person in the sky was coming for the deceased Xiaoyao sect senior. If he wanted to survive, he had to use the moonlight to get away from here quickly. Otherwise, when the day dawned, without the cover of the night, it would be difficult for him to hide his whereabouts. After walking a few miles forward, Song Qingming suddenly saw a low-level monster with its belly dug up lying next to a big tree in the forest. Song Qingming was about to go forward to take a look, but he didn't expect that the sword light in the sky just turned back from the front and flew over his head. He was so scared that he quickly stopped where he was and stood still, not daring to make any more noise. Fortunately, this time the other party was just passing by here and didn't see Song Qingming under the cover of the night. He soon disappeared in the air again, but Song Qingming below was really scared and broke into cold sweat. When he saw the sword light disappear, he didn't care about the monster anymore and quickly quickened his pace to bypass it and ran south. Without stopping, he kept running southward for hundreds of miles until a glimmer of white light appeared above the eastern sky. Song Qingming stopped and found a tree trunk to rest for a while. After running so far, he finally had some time to catch his breath. The night's attack also consumed most of his mana. He quickly took out 2 spirit stones to restore his mana. The continuous running for several days really made him a little tired. 2 hours later, Song Qingming, who had almost recovered, set out again to go south to bypass the army of monsters, and then go east to Huan Mountain to find the old patriarch and his people. After walking for half a day, Song Qingming unexpectedly saw a fight coming from the front. When he approached, he found that a team of Qi refining cultivators were fighting with several low-level monsters. These people seemed to be local family cultivators in Qingming County. Song Qingming stretched out his hand and summoned a flying sword from the storage bag. He rushed into the battlefield from the side unexpectedly and soon killed an unlucky golden-back ape with one sword. This team of cultivators originally had more people than the monsters they were fighting, so they already had the upper hand. The monsters were already struggling to win, and with Song Qingming's sudden joining, the monsters were soon no match for the cultivators and began to turn around and flee in all directions. The battle had just ended when a round-faced old man with white beard walked forward and bowed to Song Qingming, saying, "I am Lu de Miao, from the Lu family in Qingming Mountain, Qingming County. Thank you for your help just now. There are monsters everywhere around here now. I wonder where you are going." Song Qingming hurriedly raised his hand in return and said, "You are too polite, senior. We are also human cultivators. Since we have met you, we naturally have to help. I am a cultivator from Qing County. I was originally recruited to support Huan Mountain. When I attacked Jinshanfang a few days ago, my team and I were dispersed by monsters. I was about to take a detour back to Huan Mountain, so you are also going to Huan Mountain. We have also received orders from our master to go to Huan Mountain for support. You might as well come with us so that we can take care of you on the way." Seeing that Song Qingming had the same destination as them, Lu de Miao simply invited him to go with us. When Song Qingming heard that these people were also going to Huan Mountain for support, he was immediately delighted and agreed. "Okay, to be honest, I'm not very familiar with the terrain around here. I've been wandering in the mountains for a few days to avoid monsters. Fortunately, I happened to meet you today." Chapter 118 Return to Huan Mountain. Following Lu de Miao and his group, they walked eastward for almost 3 days. Along the way, they encountered several small-scale attacks by monsters. Song Qingming then returned to Huan Mountain. Seeing Song Qingming's safe return, the Song family members who had returned to Huan Mountain a few days ago came forward to show their concern for his experiences in the past few days. The old patriarch Song Gushan also smiled with relief. After he escaped from Jinshanfang, he had been rushing on the road for several days. It was not until he returned to Huan Mountain that Song Qingming slowly learned about the series of events that happened after the evacuation of Jinshanfang. When evacuating from Jinshanfang that day, due to the relatively hasty time, Huan Mountain lost a lot of cultivators. In the end, less than 70% of the cultivators returned to Huan Mountain in this battle, and even several foundation-building cultivators died in the battle. Until now, there are still many cultivators who, like Song Qingming, were dispersed by monsters and took a long detour back to Huan Mountain. Xia Oyo Sect's giant and patriarch Lu Boyang also suffered some damage after fighting with 2 demon kings. After returning to Huan Mountain, he quickly returned to Xia Oyo Sect to heal his wounds. Now, the one who presided over the defense of this front line in Huan Mountain was another Xia Oyo Sect giant and elder, Chu Fengping, who came to support. After Jinshanfang was defeated again, Xia Oyo Sect also began to pay attention to this line of defense in Qingming County. In the past few days, many cultivators were dispatched from nearby to Huan Mountain for support. Chu Fengping also brought many foundation-building masters from Xia Oyo Sect. There were 4 battlefields near Weigua during the Monster Beast riots. In addition to Gianfeng and Huan Mountain, there were also Tuan Mountain and Tixan Valley to the west of Gianfeng. However, The main battlefield was still in Gianfang. There were 9 Demon King armies attacking Gianfang, and Yao Qianshu, the head of Xiaoyao sect, personally led 5 Jinden masters to sit here. Although the monster beasts had more monster kings than the others, Gianfang had Yao Qianshu, the 9th level Jinden master of Weiguo. After several battles, the monster beasts did not gain an advantage, but Yao Qianshu seized the opportunity to kill a monster king, and it was difficult for them to pose a threat to Gianfang. Qingming Mountain was the cave residence of Chen Jinglian, a Jinden casual cultivator of Weiguo. The monster beasts attacking there were relatively weak. There was only one young monster king in the early Jinden stage, which was far from being Chen Jinglian's opponent. The monster beast army had not yet reached Qingming Mountain before it was repelled by Chen Jinglian, and even the young almost died in his hands. Tixin Valley is located in the northwest of Weiguo, and it is ruled by a Jinden family of Weiguo, the Ma family. The Ma family has ruled Tixin Valley for 500 or 600 years, and there is also a Jinden ancestor in the family. On the surface, although they are also a vassal family of Xiaoyao sect, Xiaoyao sect basically does not interfere in their affairs, and has never issued a conscription order to them over the years. There were many monsters attacking Tixin Valley, with a total of 3 monster kings. However, the Ma family and Chen Jinlian of Qingming Mountain had always had a good relationship. After Chen Jinlian defeated the monsters on Qingming Mountain, he immediately took his disciples to Tixin Valley for support. The 2 sides were temporarily in a stalemate in Tixin Valley. Among the 4 battlefields, except Qingming Mountain, the other 3 battlefields were considered to be settled and there would not be any major changes. On Qingming Mountain, due to the loss of Jinshanfang, the cultivators suffered a lot of losses, and even LV Boyang, the Jinden's Henren, was injured. The monster army of Jinshanfang still had a great advantage and could launch another attack at any time. When the Qingming Mountain cultivators evacuated Jinshanfang that day, the biggest losses were the local cultivators in Pingyang County. Many of them were reluctant to leave the spiritual objects in Jinshanfang, so they evacuated a little late. Many cultivators were entangled by monsters and could not escape from the market. Because the cultivators from the 3 counties outside received the order to evacuate early, most of them ran out safely. The Song family was relatively okay. The old patriarch had practiced Taoism for 100 years and was a decisive person. When he received the order to retreat, he decisively chose to follow the Wang family monks to evacuate immediately, and did not wait for Song Qingming to join him in the market. Although this was a bit inhumane, in the critical situation at that time, for the safety of most of the clan members, he could only make this difficult decision. It has been less than a month since they came to Qingming Mountain. After 2 major battles, one of the 15 people from the Song family who came down from Funiu Mountain has been killed and 4 seriously injured. It can be seen that this war is cruel to low-level monks. The monster turmoil is far from over. Song Qingming doesn't know who among them can return to Funiu Mountain safely. In order to facilitate carrying, the old patriarch has decided to cremate the body of the 11th uncle, and take out his ashes for burial when they return to Funiu Mountain. After the monster army captured Jinshanfang again, it quickly went south again and now has reached a plain less than 20 miles away from Qingming Mountain. After the 9-patterned dragon detected that there were a large number of cultivators stationed in Qingming Mountain, the cunning demon king did not attack here rashly, but directly concentrated the main force of the demon beasts near Qingming Mountain, and then continuously sent out low-level demon beasts under his command to attack other spiritual veins around Qingming Mountain, trying to besiege it first. Soon, the entire northern part of Pingyang County basically fell into the hands of demon beasts. Many immortal cultivation families had to temporarily abandon their family spiritual land and move to the southern part of Qingming Mountain, and most of the mortals in the family were dispersed into the mountains and forests. The main attack of the demon beasts was also the spiritual veins on which the cultivators depended for survival. Mortals who lost the protection of the cultivators and stayed near the spiritual veins would undoubtedly become blood food for the demon beasts. If they wanted to migrate them on a large scale, they would also be easily discovered and pursued by the demon beasts. They could only be dispersed to the mountains and forests far away from the spiritual veins to hide. Although it was inevitable that some people would be discovered and devoured by the demon beasts after a long time, some mortals could still escape this disaster. After Qingming Mountain discovered the intention of the monster beasts, the tactic they chose was to fortify the city and clear the countryside. They basically evacuated all the first-level spiritual veins that could be abandoned near Qingming Mountain, and only defended the two more important second-level spiritual veins of Longtang Mountain and Jishan. In this way, Huan Mountain and the monster beast army have been in a stalemate for several months without a large-scale war. The two sides only fought a few small battles around the two second-level spiritual veins, and the Huan Mountain monk army also got a few months of rest time. After several setbacks in the attack on Longtang Mountain and Jishan, the monster beasts finally couldn't help it. The two monster kings split into two groups. One group was led by the White Lion Monster King himself. Thousands of monster beasts came to Tenglong Mountain again. The remaining monsters and the 9-patterned dragon monster king stayed around Huan Mountain to block the defenders who came to support them. After Huan Mountain received the news that the monster beasts were attacking Longtang Mountain in large numbers, Chu Fengping immediately organized a large number of cultivators to go to the rescue. He not only sent 3 9th-level foundation building masters, but also mobilized Xiao Sek's only 3rd-level puppet beast. He personally restrained the 9-patterned dragon. The two sides fought a fierce battle in Longtang Mountain. Both sides suffered heavy losses. 7 foundation building cultivators from Huan Mountain died on the spot. The White Lion Demon King also lost more than a dozen second-level monster beasts, and even had a section of its tail cut off. In the end, the White Lion Demon King still failed to break through this second-level spiritual vein. Chapter 119 The Turmoil Ends. Although Huan Mountain was still at a disadvantage and could only rely on a few secondary spirit veins to hold on, after the Longtang Mountain battle, the monsters gradually lost their spirit. Apart from small-scale harassment, they never launched a large-scale attack again. The two sides gradually fell into a stalemate in Pingayang County. Half a year passed in a flash, and good news finally came from Gianfang. After nearly a year of confrontation, Xiao Sect finally seized an opportunity. Taking advantage of the monster army's negligence in defense, they joined forces with the two giant elders who came to support them to set up a large formation inside and outside to kill 2 monster kings at once. The remaining monster kings saw that the situation was not good, and directly abandoned their monster army and fled north to the floating cloud mountains. The monster army without the leadership of the monster kings fell into chaos. The monks of Giyan Mountain took advantage of the situation to launch a counterattack. After a fierce battle, the monster army that had attacked Gianfang for nearly a year finally began to retreat, leaving behind thousands of monster corpses and retreating back to the floating cloud mountains. As soon as the monsters in Gianfang retreated, the 3 demon kings besieging Tixan Valley immediately received the news. These 3 demon kings had been dealing with Tixan Valley for hundreds of years, and naturally knew that they alone could not break through here. Knowing that the main force of the monsters besieging Gianfang had retreated, they did not stay for long, and soon led their monster armies to slowly retreat back to their respective territories. The 2 demon kings, Jiao and Beishi, who were still attacking Huan Mountain, also gradually lifted the blockade of Huan Mountain and led the monster army to retreat back to the floating cloud mountains. So far, the northern border monster rebellion that had lasted for nearly a year in the entire Wei state has finally ended. This turmoil had a good impact on the Wei state, and did not lose many territories on which the cultivators depended for survival. Only some low-level spiritual veins located north of Giyan Mountain and near the floating cloud mountains temporarily fell into the hands of the monsters. The Wei state's cultivation world survived this once-in-a-century disaster without any danger. However, although the Wei state had successfully repelled the monsters, the entire northern border monster turmoil was far from over. Many countries near the floating cloud mountains were still fighting against the monsters, and some of them were even at a disadvantage. Zheng State, located to the east of the Wei state, had no nascent soul cultivators in the entire country. There were only 2 golden core sects in the country. A few decades ago, these 2 families had a battle over a spiritual stone mine, which also affected many of the cultivation families below, causing great damage to the entire Zheng State cultivation world. During this monster turmoil, the Zheng State cultivators were beaten back by the monster army, and now 1/3 of Zheng State's territory has fallen into the hands of monsters. There are more than 30 countries near the entire floating cloud mountains, of which only 7 have unyielding sects. In order to resist the invasion of the entire northern border monsters, they will more or less conclude a covenant with several neighboring countries to jointly resist the monsters. The 2 giant sects of Zheng State hurriedly sent envoys to request support from several neighboring countries. It was not until the reinforcements from several neighboring countries arrived that Zheng State slowly stabilized the front line. Although Xiaoyao sect also lost a lot of cultivators, the core giant and ancestors of the sect did not lose anything. Instead, they killed 3 monster kings near Wei State, winning the final victory of this monster chaos and reducing several opponents for the next monster chaos. After the monsters around Huan Mountain retreated, the Song family and other Qing County's Yuxin families, led by the Wang family cultivators, quickly set off to return to Qing County. The team of nearly 400 people when they came here now only has more than 200 people, and many of them are still injured. Along the way, some people looked relieved after surviving a disaster, while many others looked heavy-hearted. It was obvious that they all had very close relatives and friends who died in the turmoil. There were 2 more urns in the storage bag of the old patriarch Song Gushan. In addition to the 11th uncle Song Chengying, the 4th elder Song Guke and the 12th aunt Song Changyan also died in the Battle of Funiu Mountain. In addition, the 4th brother Song Qingru lost an arm, and the 2nd uncle Song Changwu and the 5th aunt Song Changling were injured in the danshan in their bodies. These were serious injuries that would affect their lives. Even after recovery, it would be difficult for them to recover to their previous strength. The rest of the people, including the old patriarch, were almost all injured. Song Qingming was also injured in the internal organs by a high-level giant elephant when he was in Longten Mountain. Fortunately, the injury was not serious and he has almost recovered now. 15 people went down the mountain, and the only ones who returned to Funiu intact were the 9th uncle Song Changsan and the 8th brother Song Qingjin, who did not participate in the battle. After the death of the 4th elder Song Guke and the 12th aunt Song Changyan, the Song family was sad for a long time. The younger generation of cultivators, including Song Qingming, had deep feelings for the 4th elder, the kind old man who had taken good care of them. Even the old patriarch Song Gushan, a white-haired centenarian, grumbled for a long time. After all, the 4th elder was too old. Originally, he was not among the cultivators selected this time. It was the 4th elder who took the initiative to ask the old patriarch for a fight, and finally he was replaced. Unexpectedly, the younger 4th elder eventually went ahead of the old patriarch. Now that Song Guke has died in battle, the old patriarch has only a few years left. The only ancient cultivator who has worked hard for the Song family for most of his life is the 3rd elder Song Yuan, who rarely goes out. What is a bit strange is that in this monster turmoil, the biggest loss in Qing County is not them, but the Jin family cultivators who did not go to the front line of Huan Mountain to participate in the battle. Before retreating, the hot-tempered white lion demon king suddenly led some of his demon beasts to bypass Huan Mountain and enter the southern part of Pingayang County, attacking several immortal cultivation families, and even the Qifengling Jin family in Qing County, which was close to Pingayang County, was also annihilated. Qifengling was horrible for a while. The second-level spiritual vein that the Jin family had managed for several years instantly turned into hell on earth. Tens of thousands of mortals and cultivators became food for the monsters without exception. Fortunately, Jin Guangyao, the head of the Jin family, took some cultivators to Liangshan Lingxi mine for support and did not stay in Qifengling, otherwise all the cultivators of the Jin family would have been killed by the monsters. After hearing the news that the White Lion Demon King had broken through Qifengling, Wang Shengxin, the patriarch of the Wang family, was also shocked. He then remembered the crusade against Qifengling organized by them a few years ago. Although he was not sure, Wang Shengxin had a faint feeling in his heart that the second-level White Lion they killed a few years ago might have something to do with the White Lion Demon King under Huan Mountain. Like human cultivators, the competition between monsters is also very fierce. Even monsters of the same species will fight to the death for territory, but most monsters value their own bloodline. Just like the core disciples of a large sect, if you dare to attack them, you may be attacked by the entire sect. The reason why the White Lion Monster King did not travel thousands of miles to attack Chifen Ridge is most likely to avenge his bloodline. This can also explain why it chose to attack Jinshan Feng in the first place. When Wang Shengxin thought of this, he was also shocked and broke into cold sweat. He quickly ordered the Wang family cultivators to seal up all the magic tools made from the materials of the second-level White Lion. Chapter 120 Family Heritage. After the Song family returned to Funiu Mountain, the exhausted old patriarch Song Gushan did not have time to rest for a moment. He quickly made arrangements to bury the members who sacrificed their lives for the family in the cemetery on the mountain. He also personally presided over the funerals of several members who died in the battle. The 4th elder was buried next to the grave of the great elder. There were several old graves nearby, all of which were monks of the ancient generation who had passed away. Song Gushan also specially asked someone to clear a piece of open space for him on the other side of the grave of the great elder. Not long after the Song family members were buried, the Wang family sent people over to deliver the pension for this conscription and some rewards for them, which amounted to more than 1,000 spirit stones. However, everyone did not feel anything when they saw these spirit stones. After all, these were exchanged for the lives of several dead members. The fourth elder who managed the family's gold storage pavilion was no longer there. The old patriarch could only temporarily store these spirit stones in the gold storage pavilion and distribute them after the candidate to take over the gold storage pavilion was selected. After the funeral was done, the old patriarch chose a good day and summoned all the monks of the Song family to the meeting hall. He announced to everyone on the spot that he would step down from the position of patriarch that he had held for decades, and pass on the core power of the family to the new patriarch, the sixth uncle Song Changfeng. After the sixth uncle Song Changfeng took over as the patriarch, he quickly redistributed the positions of the original elders of the family and selected several new elders on the spot to help him manage the entire family. The ninth uncle Song Changsen, who had always been reluctant to take charge of things, took over the position of the original fourth elder and served as the family's good deeds elder, responsible for managing the spiritual objects in the gold storage pavilion and the exchange of clan members' merits. This area is relatively leisurely, and he does not have to go down the mountain often. It is more suitable for a hard-working monk like him who likes to practice. 13th Uncle Song Changshan took over the affairs of the original Song Changfeng and became the new law enforcement elder of the family. He managed the family's demon hunting team and the guarding of Funiu Mountain. He was already very familiar with this aspect. In recent years, since the sixth uncle had too many things to do, he basically handed these things over to him. Fifth Aunt Song Changling served as the elder of the family's general affairs, responsible for teaching the young monks in the family school on the mountain, and managing the affairs of the family's mortals and the annual spirit testing ceremony. She has been guarding Yujao town for many years and is very familiar with these things. There is no change on Song Qingming's side. He continues to be responsible for assisting the patriarch in managing some trivial matters in the family, doing some welcoming and sending off, and running errands. It is a bit like the role of the great elder at the beginning. This is also the family's intention to train him to understand more about the specific situation of various affairs in the family. The original third elder Song Dolan was still in charge of the family's spiritual plant affairs. She wanted to retire early like the old patriarch this time, but there was no suitable person to replace her for the time being. Under Song Gushan's insistence, she agreed to continue to help the family for a while, and then replace her when the family found a suitable candidate. Now there are nearly 30 cultivators in the Song family. In addition to the old patriarch who is too old to take action, there are 5 cultivators in the late stage of Qi refining. The overall strength is much stronger than when Song Qingming just came down the mountain. Many cultivators of the Qing generation have also gradually grown up. After the topic of the succession of the old and the new was over, several elders put forward many of their own ideas and suggestions for the future development of the family. First of all, in terms of family affairs, the thousands of mortals who migrated from the Liu family have been intermarrying for more than 10 years, which has also injected a lot of fresh blood into the family. In recent years, the probability of discovering spiritual roots among mortals is also much higher than before. However, the number of mortals that Mujao Town can support has almost reached its upper limit. With a continuous growth of population, the living space required will also increase exponentially. There are few fields left in Mujao Town. If the Song family wants to feed more people, they must build new mortal villages. Dangers can be seen everywhere in the world of immortal cultivation. Mortals without the care of cultivators are very vulnerable. Any low-level monster that sneaks into a village can cause great damage in a short period of time. If the Song family wants to build a new village, they must first find a fertile land suitable for mortal cultivation, and then use spirit stones to refine a small spirit vein, arrange a mountain protection array, and arrange for cultivators to garrison and manage for a long time. These are all indispensable things, and they also require a lot of spirit stones. After everyone discussed it, everyone agreed to build a new mortal village. The clan leader Song Changfeng decided to find a few mortals from Yujao Town to guard together tomorrow, and first find a territory suitable for building a village near Funiu Mountain. To refine the spirit vein, you need to prepare hundreds of spirit stones first, and then refine a spirit-gathering array. This is not a big problem. Hundreds of spirit stones can still be taken out by the family. With Song Qingming's array level, a spirit-gathering array can be completely refined. The only difficulty is that a top-grade defensive mountain protection array is needed. Song Qingming has not been able to refine this. Only the former elder Song Gubei has this ability. Now he can only send a message to his second sister Song Qingwen first, asking her and the fourth uncle to go to King Hefang to see if there is a suitable top-grade mountain protection array. The mountain protection array is different from the arrays that Song Qingming had previously refined. This kind of array can only be arranged according to the spirit veins of mountains and rivers. It can protect a large area and will be more powerful. However, the market demand for this kind of thing is not large. After refining a set, the general cultivation family can even use it for hundreds of years. It is hard to say whether a small market like King Hefang can buy it in a short time. Even if you ask a top-grade array master to refine a set, it will take at least half a year. The second thing was raised by the clan leader Song Changfeng, about the family's training of younger monks. In the past, all Song family monks could receive some spiritual stones for free every year before they reached adulthood for cultivation. They would stop distributing spiritual stones after they turned 18, and then they could only earn spiritual stones by completing the tasks issued in the family's gold storage pavilion. This was the case for many clan monks, including clan leaders and elders. However, the family treated monks with outstanding cultivation talents and good spiritual roots very differently. Back then, the third brother Song Kings was given a large amount of cultivation resources by the old clan leader and the elders in order to train him because of his outstanding cultivation talents, which also attracted the dissatisfaction of many clan monks. Song Changfeng decided that in order to treat every clan monk fairly, this similar system would be temporarily abolished from today, and all clan monks would be treated equally in the future. This was also agreed by most of the elders present. After deciding on these two major matters, everyone discussed some other miscellaneous matters before concluding this new family meeting. Song Qingming, who had just finished attending the family meeting and was about to return to his cave, suddenly remembered that he had an important matter that he had not yet dealt with, so he stopped the clan leader Song Changfeng, who was about to leave. Clan leader, I would like to ask for some leave from you next month to go to Xiaoyao sect to meet an old friend. Chapter 121 Magu Town. Old friend of Xiaoyao sect, did you meet her in Yianfang? Hearing that Song Qingming was going to travel far away, Song Changfeng did not immediately agree to him, but asked with some concern. Indeed, I met her in Yianfang. When I was in Fianwei, she was the captain of Fianwei. She took good care of me at that time. Later, when I left Yianfang, she had returned to Xiaoyao sect. I heard that she succeeded in building a foundation. I don't know if she will remember me when we meet again. Song Qingming sighed after saying this. When the two met, they were all Qi refining cultivators and could help each other. Now their status is very different. Hearing that Song Qingming actually met a Xiaoyao sect foundation building senior, Song Changfeng's face also showed a trace of surprise. It is not an easy thing for a small Qi refining family like the Song family to have some relationship with a Xiaoyao sect foundation building cultivator. If the Song family could have a relationship with a foundation building senior hundreds of years ago, they would not have fallen into a small place like Qing County. When the Song family's foundation building ancestor was still alive, he had many good foundation building friends in Xiaoyao sect. However, after he passed away, the descendants of the Song family went to these predecessors when they were excluded from Xiaoyao sect, but no one was willing to come out to help them. In the end, they had no choice but to migrate to Qing County. It's good to go and see it when you have time. In case this predecessor is willing to see you, it will be a chance for you to help and guide you. Haha, how much benefit you can get depends on your own luck. Seeing that Song Qingming was a little lacking in confidence in this matter, Song Changfeng hurriedly smiled and comforted him. After hearing this, the old patriarch Song Gushan came over and shook his head and said, Qingming, the monster turmoil has just ended. There are still many small groups of monsters left outside. It's too dangerous for you to travel far now. If things are not so urgent, wait for a while until the outside is stable. Fourth uncle is right, Qingming, otherwise you should wait a while. It's really too dangerous outside now. Song Changfeng also nodded and agreed with Song Gushan's opinion. Seeing that the two elders were so concerned about his safety, Song Qingming did not insist anymore. After all, there was no point in him being too anxious about some things. Ever since he got the relics of the Xiaoyao sect monk in the deep mountains west of Jinshanfang, Song Qingming did not dare to tell anyone about it. He had been thinking about how to deal with it for nearly a year. In the end, he decided to go to the Xiaoyao sect mountain gate and find a familiar Xiaoyao sect monk to inquire about the situation and see how he should deal with these things. This year, Song Qingming had wanted to open it to see what treasures this senior had that brought him to his death. However, the storage bag on the senior and the jade box he took out had very powerful restrictions. When he was still in Gianfang, Song Qingming had heard that many spiritual objects of the monks of the big sects had very mysterious restrictions. If he rashly and forcibly cracked them, it might trigger the restrictions. Maybe the monks of Xiaoyao sect would find him here soon. By then, he would not be able to explain himself. Therefore, he had been holding back his curiosity and did not dare to try to open these things. The old patriarch's worries were unreasonable. This time, there were many more monsters from Funiu Mountain in Qing County. Just a few days before Song Qingming and his friends returned to Funiu, a group of monsters attacked Lingyuan Mountain. The patriarch Song Changfang personally took action to repel these monsters. Not only the monsters, but also many bandits like Ying Chaoling took advantage of the chaos caused by the monsters heading south to fish in troubled waters. Now the entire northern part of Uyghur is not so stable yet. It is difficult to determine whether the missing monks on the road were attacked by monsters or encountered other dangers. After Uncle Nine Song Changsin took over the Tibetan Gold Pavilion, the rewards for this conscription were quickly distributed. Everyone who participated in the battle was given a lot of spiritual stones. Song Qingming contributed a lot in several battles and received 200 spiritual stones alone. Although he now has thousands of spiritual stones on him, no one would think that spiritual stones are too much. 5th Aunt Song Changling led people to spend more than 10 days around Funiu. After several turns, they finally selected a better location next to a branch on the west side of Funiu. After returning, they began to arrange manpower and organize a large number of mortals to build the town first. Song Qingming also received the task of refining the spirit gathering array. When he was in Lingyuan Mountain, he helped his 6th brother Song King to set up a spirit gathering array. However, it was only used to cultivate spirit fields at that time. The quality requirements for the spirit gathering array were not high. It could be set up directly with ordinary array flags refined in hand. This kind of spirit gathering array is more common. Song Qingming would also set up this array in the cave every time he broke through his cultivation. The spirit gathering array he is refining now, which can cultivate spirit veins, will be of much higher quality. It will take at least 2 months to refine such a set. Fortunately, he has the help of the incomplete map. It only took him more than 10 days to refine the array flags and array plates. In order not to arouse suspicion from others, he needs to wait a little longer before handing it over to the family. Soon 2 months passed, and the new mortal village was built. After discussing with the 5th Aunt Song Changling and the clan leader Song Changfeng, they named this place Magu Town to commemorate the many ancient monks who have dedicated their lives to the family over the years. With the help of several clan members who knew some formations, Song Qingming finally successfully arranged the spirit gathering formation after some effort. After the formation began to operate, Song Qingming put hundreds of spirit stones that the family had prepared long ago into the center of the formation. As the spirit gathering formation continued to operate and refine the spirit stones, a pure spiritual energy soon spread from it. Then Song Qingming inserted silver formation flags around Magu Town and soon arranged a medium braid formation. With a continuous supply of spiritual energy from the spiritual veins, this formation can operate continuously for 12 hours without consuming spirit stones. Second sister Song Qingwen looked around Qinghofang, but still couldn't find a suitable top-grade mountain protection formation. In the end, she could only find a top-grade formation master from the Wang family to reserve a top-grade formation. It would take another half a year to refine it. Song Qingming could only take out a medium braid formation from the clan's gold pavilion and arrange it here first. There were not many array masters in the Song family. With the death of the great elder who had the best array skills in the family, and the death of the 12th Aunt Song Changyan, the array master, in Longtang Mountain, the only one left who could set up arrays was Song Qingming himself. For this reason, Song Qingming also raised this point in the family meeting a few days ago. Now the family urgently needs to train new array masters. However, the profession of array master is not very popular. There are not many people in the younger generation who are interested in array. The clan leader Song Changfang can only increase the family's array subsidies, and then send a few apprentices to Song Qingming. Among them, the one with the best array talent is the 14th sister Song Qingxi. Song Qingxi is only 15 years old this year, and her cultivation has reached the 3rd level of Qi Refining. After learning arrays from Song Qingming for a few months, she can already draw some array patterns smoothly. Her talent in arrays should be stronger than Song Qingming's back then. It is estimated that in 1 or 2 years at most, she should be able to become a low-grade array master. Chapter 122 Return to Yandan. The spiritual vein that has just been cultivated is only of the 1st grade low quality. It takes 2 or 3 years to invest hundreds of spiritual stones to upgrade this spiritual vein to the 1st grade medium quality. At that time, the spiritual energy in the spiritual vein will gradually stabilize. With a spiritual vein, a mountain protection formation can be arranged. With the care of the monks, this place will soon become the 2nd Mujao town. Such a large mortal village can survive at least 20,000 mortals. After Mugu town was established, Song Changling moved some of the mortals in Mujao town and several surrounding villages with poor conditions here. The 4th brother Song Qingru served as the 1st guard here. Song Qingru has been recovering from his injuries in Longtang Mountain for nearly half a year. Although he has not fully recovered, he is almost well. Seeing that Wugu is looking for a garrison monk in Mugu town, he took the initiative to ask the clan to take on this task. Because of the loss of an arm, his fighting power was greatly reduced. The 4th brother Song Qingru also knew that it would be difficult for him to stay in the family monster hunting team. Although it was a little difficult for him to accept, there was nothing he could do. Fortunately, he was a cheerful person. After a few months of recuperation, Song Qingru gradually accepted this fact. For a cultivator like him whose future is not bright, it is a good choice to return to the mortal villages and towns early, marry and have children, and accompany his family instead of staying in the mountains and being ostracized in the future. After the family announced the establishment of Mugu town, Song Qingru quickly took on this task and served as the guarding cultivator in Mugu town. After Song Qingru went down the mountain, Song Qingming and his eldest brother Song Qingxi, who had the best relationship with him, often ran down the mountain to find him to drink with the moon when they had nothing to do at night. What they didn't expect was that after their 4th brother Song Qingru married several wives and concubines, they gradually lost their place in his heart. He often left them aside to accompany his wife. In the end, he simply hinted that they should not come too often in the future, lest the family be disturbed. This also made him and his eldest brother depressed. More than half a year passed in a flash. One day, the clan leader Song Changfang received a message from his 2nd sister Song Qingwan and King Hufang that the top-grade formation they customized had been refined, and asked him to go to King Hufang to retrieve the formation. Song Qingming had just returned to the cave, and before he could pack up his things, Song Qinggayu, who looked eccentric, suddenly came to him. 7th brother, I heard that you were going to King Hufang, so I came to see you off. See me off? I'll be back in 5 or 6 days at most. What's so good about seeing you off? Do you have something to talk to me about? Hearing what Song Qinggayu said, Song Qingming was also confused. It was only a 2-day walk from Funiu Mountain to King Hufang. He went there at least 7 or 8 times a year. He had never seen her come to see him off before. Song Qinggayu blinked her big eyes and said somewhat displeasedly, I came to see you off with good intentions, but you still have to ask so many questions. I just want to see you off. Do I need so many reasons? Well, you have grown up and know how to feel sorry for us brothers. Song Qingming smiled and nodded to her. Without saying anything else, he packed up his things and walked out of the cave. Song Qinggayu followed him immediately with a look of joy on his face. Along the way, he began to talk to Song Qingming about various interesting things that had happened recently on the mountain. After reaching the foot of the mountain, Song Qingming asked her to send him here and return to the mountain quickly so that the clan leader and his men would not be able to find him. Unexpectedly, the girl was not happy again and insisted on sending Song Qingming for another trip. As a result, they were sent to King Hufang. Once they arrived at the market, Song Qinggayu quickly pushed Song Qingming aside and strolled around the market with excitement. Song Qingming looked at this clever little girl and shook his head helplessly. Fortunately, it was not her first time to come to King Hufang, and the market was still relatively safe. After instructing her to meet up at the family store in the evening, he let her go. Compared with before the monster beast riot, King Hufang obviously has fewer people. Although it is much safer than the several markets in the north, It has also been attacked by monster beasts. When Song Qingming just arrived at the city gate, he saw some of the city walls that were damaged by monster beasts and had not been repaired yet. Although the fight in Qing County was not as brutal as that in Funiu Mountain, it also lost a lot of manpower. Many monsters in Funiu Mountain rushed past Liangshan Lingxi Mine and went deep into Qing County. Qinghefang, which was closest to Funiu Mountain, was also attacked by monsters on a large scale. Fortunately, there were still many monks guarding in the market at that time. With the help of the guards of Liangshan Lingxi Mine, everyone fought back these monsters, and Qinghefang did not suffer much loss. After arriving at the Song family grocery store, Song Qingming found that the business here seemed to be better than when he was there. He didn't expect that his second sister Song Qingwen was so good at business, and she was much better than him in this aspect. Xiaoqi, you, the elder, are finally here. Have you brought all the alchemy materials I want? The second sister Song Qingwen, who was dressed in red, smiled and said to Song Qingming after seeing him. Song Qingming took out a storage bag given to him by the clan leader and handed it to Song Qingwen. Before he could speak, Song Qingwen turned around and walked towards the back hall with the storage bag. Second sister, where's the formation I want? Go to the back to find fourth uncle. I'll go make the elixir first. It seems that second sister is also obsessed with alchemy. Song Qingming realized that most of the customers who came to the shop seemed to be here for the elixir made by second sister. When he arrived at fourth uncle's house in the backyard, he found that he and fourth aunt were both there. Wang Cheng has made great progress in the past few years. He married fourth uncle's daughter a few years ago and is considered half a member of the Song family. Fourth uncle trusts him more and more. The affairs of the other shop are basically handled by the young couple. Seeing Song Qingming, the elder of the family, coming, fourth aunt was also very happy. She quickly called a few servants to buy some wine and food. Wang Zhonghua personally cooked some of his favorite spiritual food for Song Qingming. And, I didn't pay attention to you when I first came. I didn't expect that you are getting younger and younger after not seeing you for a few years. Have you practiced any special skills? After a few cups of spiritual wine, Song Qingming unexpectedly found that Wang Zhonghua seemed to be more beautiful than 2 years ago. After a closer look, he found that her face seemed to have returned to her youth. Your uncle is not willing to buy me any good skills. Qingwen made a kind of Huayan pill not long ago. I also asked her for a few pills to try. I didn't expect the effect was quite good. Wang Zhonghua glared at Song Changqiu and then happily explained to Song Qingming. Huayan pill, I have heard of this kind of pill, but the effect should not be so good, Song Qingming asked with some confusion. Wang Zhonghua smiled and explained, of course, the ordinary Huayan pill on the market is not as effective as this. This is an improved version of the ancient pill recipe that Qingwen received. The effect is indeed much better than the one I took before. Recently, this kind of elixir from our family has been selling very well in the market. If it weren't for Qingwen, the alchemist, to support our store, your fourth uncle would have been in deficit long ago. Song Qingming then recalled that when he was in the store lobby just now, the customers in the store were indeed basically all female cultivators, but he didn't think at the time that it was because of the Huayan pill. His second sister had a good talent for alchemy and could even refine the pills on the ancient pill recipe. Qingwen is just wasting her talent. What's the point of refining this kind of pill that can neither improve cultivation nor heal injuries? After taking it, it just adds a lot of pill poison to yourself. This kind of pill that is useless for cultivation can only sell well for a while. If you really care so much about your appearance, why do you still cultivate immortals? After seeing that the business has been much worse recently, his wife has been burying him, and his fourth uncle, who has always had a good temper, couldn't help but say something back to her. Uncle, how is Wang Cheng doing recently? Has this kid given you a grandson? Seeing that the two elders seemed to be arguing again, Song Qingming quickly changed the subject. However, he was somewhat interested in the pill, Wei Yan pill. Maybe it's really a good thing. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123, 9th Level of Qi Refining. After Song Qingming got a mountain protection formation after chatting with his uncle's family for a meal, he went around Qinghefang and bought some elixirs for cultivation. When he returned to the Song family shop, he found that Song Qingming had also returned and was asking for elixirs from the back hall. And second sister Song Qingwen. Second sister, please give me a new Huayan pill, or I can borrow it from you. Recently, in order to break through the late stage of Qi refining, I have really spent all the spirit stones. I will return it to you as soon as I earn spirit stones. No, it's been a long time since you borrowed 10 spirit stones from me last time, and you haven't returned it to me yet. Besides, Huayan pill will only be effective when taken by older people. How old are you, you little girl? Why do you want this? Can you take elixirs casually? In the face of Song Qingyu's coquetry, second sister Song Qingwen remained unmoved. When the little girl saw Song Qingming coming back, she quickly came over and transferred her hope to him again. Looking at the pitiful Song Qingyu, Song Qingming shook his head helplessly and said to Song Qingwen, second sister, is that new Huayan pill easy to refine? How many do you have left now? The kingly grass required for Huayan pill is very rare now. I accidentally received 2 plants last time. I only refined more than 10 pills in total. Now there are only 4 left, Song Qingwen said with some embarrassment. Is that so? Then give me all 4 pills, and I will give you spirit stones directly. You can only take one of this kind of pill in your lifetime. Why do you want so many? Song Qingwen asked in confusion. Haha, this kind of pill is rare after all. I want to take a few back to give to others. Seeing that this kind of pill is not easy to refine, Song Qingming simply put the remaining 4 Huayan pills into his bag in one go, and then made an agreement with Song Qingyu that when she breaks through the late stage of Qi refining in the future, he will definitely give her a Huayan pill to indirectly encourage her to practice. It was already dusk when they left Qinghofang. Song Qingyu had been clamoring to return the next day until they set off. This time, Song Qingming did not indulge her. He directly took out the majesty of the elders and gave her a lecture, which made her follow reluctantly. The two did not delay on the road and soon returned to Funiu Mountain. After Song Qingming arranged a new top-grade mountain protection formation in Migu town, he immediately closed his eyes when he returned to the cave, took out the elixir he bought this time, and prepared to break through his cultivation to the 9th level of Qi refining in one breath. The 9th level of Qi refining is the last level of the Qi refining stage, and it is also the most difficult bottleneck. Song Qingming had cultivated his mana to the peak of the 8th level of Qi refining half a year ago. He tried to break through the 9th level of Qi refining several times but failed. This time, he went to Qinghofang for a tour and finally found an elixir in the market that could help break through the late stage of Qi refining, which gave him the confidence to break through the bottleneck again. The pill Song Qingming bought this time is called Yuking pill. It is a first-class elixir made from jade blue flowers that are more than 100 years old. It can help break through the late stage of Qi refining. The value of this pill is 150 spiritual stones in the market. Even though it is so expensive, there are still many cultivators who want to buy it. Song Qingming was able to buy one this time because of the relationship he had established in Qinghofang. With this pill and a medium-grade spiritual stone, Song Qingming has a great chance of successfully breaking through to the 9th level of Qi refining. Song Qingming borrowed a Qingxin talisman to adjust his mental state to the best, and then swallowed his precious Yuking pill in one gulp. After a moment, a violent spiritual energy spread quickly from the danshan in his body, and then began to impact the many meridians and acupoints in his body. Although Yuking pill is still a first-class elixir, the spiritual power in the elixir is very much, almost close to half of the ordinary second-class elixir, and the spiritual energy contained is far more domineering than many elixirs Song Qingming has taken before. Such a domineering spiritual energy, flowing into the spiritual veins, has a great impact on every cultivator in the Qi refining stage. Enduring the severe pain in the meridians, Song Qingming concentrated his mind and fully guided the mana in the meridians in his body to circulate, and then slowly guided the violent mana back to the danshan bit by bit. As time passed, the mana in Song Qingming's danshan accumulated more and more, and finally reached a critical point after a few days. Without any hesitation, Song Qingming quickly ran the powerful mana in the danshan into the 9th meridian in his body. With a roar in his body, he soon successfully broke through the barrier in this last meridian, allowing him to advance to the 9th level of Qi refining. After the violent spiritual power in his body gradually calmed down, Song Qingming took out another medium-grade spiritual stone, slowly refined it, and stabilized his cultivation realm. Only then did Song Qingming breathe a sigh of relief, and this breakthrough was finally successful. In the previous breakthroughs, Song Qingming also successfully broke through the bottleneck and entered the 9th level of Qi Refining. As a result, due to insufficient preparation, he failed to stabilize his realm in time and fell back to the 8th level of Qi Refining. Therefore, when he broke through this time, he prepared a medium-grade spirit stone in advance. It was because of this that he did not repeat the same mistake this time. Although this breakthrough cost much more spirit stones than ordinary cultivators, there was nothing Song Qingming could do about it. His spiritual root aptitude was too poor. Although he practiced better exercises such as the Jade Mysterious Sutra, his cultivation speed was much faster than those geniuses with excellent spiritual roots. In order to build a foundation as soon as possible, he could only continue to refine pills to increase the speed of cultivation. This naturally led to the emptiness of his foundation and increased the difficulty of breaking through the bottleneck. After breaking through the 9th level of Qi Refining, he would face the biggest difficulty of building a foundation. Even if he cultivated to the 9th level of Qi Refining, he was still the lowest existence in the world of cultivation. In the eyes of high-level cultivators, Qi Refining cultivators were all chess pieces on the chessboard whose fate was manipulated. Only when he successfully built a foundation could he better control his own destiny. Once a cultivator successfully builds his foundation, he will not only be able to learn more powerful spells, but his lifespan will also increase by another 2 decades. After becoming a foundation-building cultivator, even if he still cannot escape the fate of a chess piece, he will be a larger chess piece on the chessboard and will not be easily abandoned by the chess player. This time, Song Qingming broke through the 9th level of Qi Refining and closed himself off for a whole month. He did not open the door to his cave until his cultivation was completely stable. After walking out of his cave, Song Qingming went directly to find the clan leader Song Changfen. The mountain protection formation of Megu Town has been arranged, and Song Qingxi's formation level has also been successfully introduced, and he can arrange some simple formations. Song Qingming has nothing more important to do on Funiu Mountain for the time being, so he plans to go to Xiaoao sect first. Song Changfang didn't say much this time. After telling Song Qingming a few words, he agreed to his request and asked Song Qingming to go to the treasury to get dozens of spirit stones. After all, when you go out, you have to spend some spirit stones to meet the foundation building cultivators in Xiaoao sect. A year has passed since the monster turmoil. Except for the severely damaged Pingyang County in the north, which is still a bit chaotic, other places in Uyghur have slowly returned to the stable state before the turmoil. Chapter 124 Yangshinfang. Before setting off, Song Qingming first handed over some of the clean-sourced martial arts books he had accumulated over the years to the family's gold storage pavilion, exchanged for a few hundred spirit stones, then sorted out his cave, and gave all of his less frequently used magic tools and spiritual objects to several clansmen on the mountain who were close to him. Although Song Xinhu, the descendant of the Great Elder, had average spiritual roots, Song Qingming had always taken good care of him after he went up the mountain because of the relationship with the Great Elder. This time, he generously gave him 2 medium-grade magic tools, which made several fellow cultivators around him envious. After handling the affairs on the mountain, Song Qingming went down the mountain and returned to his home in Mujiao town to stay for a few days to accompany his mother and family. In the past few years, except for the 1 year he left King County during the monster turmoil 2 years ago, he often went home to see his mother. But since his father left, it seems that because of the lack of someone to quarrel with, the always strong mother gradually became less talkative. She often liked to sit in the yard alone and be in a daze for several hours. Only when she occasionally faced a few lovely grandchildren would she show a long-lost smile. After dinner that day, Song's mother lay on the rocking chair in the yard to bask in the sun. When Song Qingming, who wanted to chat with her, saw it, he simply moved a chair and sat next to her. The two of them sat on the left and right in the yard, and never spoke. But compared to the peace emanating from his mother, Song Qingming's heart was not calm enough. This time he was going on a long journey, which was a little different from before. After arriving at Xiaoao sect, some of the things he would face were really beyond his control, which made him feel a little uneasy. "Are you going on a long journey again?" Perhaps seeing that Song Qingming had something on his face, Song's mother suddenly spoke and broke the calmness that had been maintained in the yard. "Well, after going out this time, the time to come back may be a little uncertain. It is estimated that it will take half a year, or even longer," Song Qingming replied calmly. Song's mother's face changed and she said with a smile, Go if you want to. Don't worry that my old bones won't be able to wait for you to come back. The fortune teller told me last month that I have a strong life and can live to be 80. Don't worry, I will definitely live to see the day you get married. It's not that I'm worried. I have to go on a long journey anyway. Before I leave, I came back to see you first, so that I won't miss you too much after a long time. After Song Qingming finished speaking, a smile appeared on his face. It is said that people who cultivate immortals should cut off worldly ties as early as possible. How could I give birth to such a disappointing thing like you? If your father were still alive, he would inevitably say that I have affected your cultivation. I have also come to terms with it over the years. What your father said may be right for you. After all, you are different from us. You will eventually walk your own path. Mortals will eventually live in the memories of others. It is also a blessing for me to die peacefully like your father in the future. Mother is right, I understand. The two chatted in the yard for more than half an hour, until Song's mother fell asleep on the chair while talking. After Song Qingming covered her with a blanket, he got up and left. After chatting with his mother for a while, Song Qingming gradually calmed down. What should be faced must be faced after all. It is useless to worry too much now. Let's talk about it when we arrive at Xiaoyao sect. Returning to his room, he carefully took out the water spirit fruit that he had stored for more than 10 years. After leaving a note for his mother, Song Qingming quietly left his home. A month later, in Yangshanfang at the foot of Qi Mountain, Song Qingming, who was dressed in black and dusty, handed in 2 spiritual stones at the entrance of the market and successfully walked into the largest market in Wei State. Qi Mountain is the mountain gate of Xiaoyao sect, located in Guiyang County of Wei State, and is also the only 4th-level spiritual vein in Wei State. On this huge spiritual mountain spanning hundreds of miles from east to west, tens of thousands of Xiaoyao sect cultivators live. The scale of Yangshanfang is more than twice that of Guianfang, which Song Qingming has been to. Most of the industries inside are run by Xiaoyao sect cultivators themselves, and only a very small number of shops will be rented out to casual cultivators. After Song Qingming casually wandered around the market, he found an inn run by Xiaoyao sect and stayed there. Qing County is separated from Guiyang Mountain by several counties. After leaving home, Song Qingming walked south along the Qingshu River for 7 or 8 days, and then turned to the land for a few days. He met a caravan going to Yangshanfang and came here together. Along the way, Song Qingming occasionally saw some traces of monsters at first, but after entering Guiyang County, he never saw a monster again. This place has been run by Xiaoyao sect for thousands of years, and the monsters in the territory have been cleared out long ago. Mortals living here can be seen everywhere. Even in places without formations, they are not afraid of attacks from monsters and demons. Because of this, although the area of Guiyang County is far less than that of the other 4 counties in Wei State, it has the largest population among the 5 counties. It is also the core area of the entire Wei State. Living here, whether it is a cultivator or a mortal, it is very relaxed. After arriving at Yangshanfang, Song Qingming understood why his ancestors in the family had always been brooding over being forced to leave this place. Yangshanfang is the largest market in the entire Wei State. Here, as long as you have enough spiritual stones, let alone those rare 2nd-level spiritual objects in other places, even the 3rd-level spiritual objects used by giant and cultivators can be bought. Song Qingming wandered around the market for several days and found many good things he had always wanted. He also accidentally found a 100-year-old kingly flower that his second sister Song Qingwen had always wanted. In an ordinary grocery store, a clerk at the 4th level of Qi Refining held a 2-inch puppet beast in his hand and showed it to Song Qingming. The clerk was holding a top-grade giant bear puppet beast. Its attack power was average, but its defense ability was very strong, and it could also release a shield defense spell. It really deserves to be the largest market in Uyghur. I didn't expect that even a first-grade top-grade puppet beast could be bought here. Looking at the giant bear puppet beast in front of him, Song Qingming couldn't help but feel a little moved. He had practiced the soul forging technique for several years. Song Qingming's soul was now about twice that of the cultivators of the same level. It should be a big problem for his consciousness to control 2 puppet beasts. It was just because he had been in Qing County for the past few years, and no one in Qinghefang could make puppet beasts. The puppet beasts he had met were all low-grade puppet beasts with little effect, which were of no use to him. After asking the price, Song Qingming hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth, took out 240 spirit stones, and put them into his storage bag. After spending hundreds of spirit stones, Song Qingming did not choose to continue wandering around, and turned around and walked back to the inn where he was staying. As soon as he walked in, Song Qingming soon found that someone in the inn was looking at him, as if he had been waiting for him for a long time. "Seventh brother, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting for a long time. I have no choice. The place where I live is hundreds of miles away from Yangshanfang, so it took me a little longer." The person who spoke was Song King's, the third brother who had not seen him for many years. The reason why he appeared here was because he received a message from Song Qingming a few days ago. Chapter 125 Visiting Suzian. After arriving at Yangshanfang, Song Qingming asked around and immediately found the Zhuqian set up by Zhuo sect in the market. He sent a message to Song Kings on Guiyang Mountain. Several days have passed. "Third brother, you worry too much? This is my first time here. I didn't expect Yangshanfang to be so prosperous. I have just learned a lot these days." After seeing Song Kings, Song Qingming happily stepped forward and greeted him, and then took him to his room. The two hadn't seen each other for many years, so they had to exchange pleasantries. After Song Kings joined Zhuo sect, he had not returned to Funiu Mountain in recent years except for a trip back to Funiu Mountain when the great elder passed away. He had a cold personality since he was a child, and he was a little excited to see the clan members he hadn't seen for many years, and asked Song Qingming a lot about his family. "Qingming, you came to me from afar this time. It shouldn't be just to see me. Is there anything else?" After chatting for a long time, Song Kings remembered and asked Song Qingming the purpose of coming to Yangshanfang. After Song Qingming pondered for a while, he said, "Well, this time I came to Yangshanfang. In addition to purchasing some spiritual items, I also wanted to ask my third brother about some things. When I was hanging out in Guiyangfang, I made the acquaintance of a good friend from the Zhuo sect. I am not familiar with the Zhuo sect, so I would like to ask my third brother for help in finding out about this good friend. Let's see if he will come this time." After Song King's thought for a while, he said, "If you are a Qi refining cultivator, you can just go to the Zhuqian and use spirit stones to send a secret letter. You shouldn't need me to help you find out. Could it be that your good friend has already established a foundation? When I met her, we were both Qi refining cultivators. Later I heard that she seemed to have established a foundation." Song Qingming smiled and nodded. "The sect's foundation building seniors will register at the General Affairs Hall when they go out. I'll go there and ask and I'll know right away whether the senior is on the mountain. However, the General Affairs Hall is hundreds of miles away from Yangshanfang, so you'll have to wait for me here for a few more days." Seeing that this matter was not difficult to handle, Song Kings agreed on the spot. After Song Qingming told him the name of the cultivator he wanted to see, Song Kings set out for the General Affairs Hall of Zhuo sect early the next morning. After waiting in Yangshanfang for another 3 days, Song Qingming suddenly received a secret letter from Song Kings from Guiyang Mountain. After reading the contents of the letter, he smiled knowingly and left Yangshanfang. In a cave with dense spiritual energy in the Guiyang Mountains, a woman in red was taking care of several spiritual herbs that were about to mature. Not long after, another girl of 15 or 16 walked in quickly. The girl looked at the woman in red who was concentrating on the elixir, and said respectfully, "Master, a fellow Taoist Song is here to visit. Let him in, and you go and prepare some tea and fruit for him." After that, the woman in red put down the tools in her hands, tidied up her appearance a little, and then returned to the stone table in the middle of the cave. After a while, a man in black walked into the cave under the guidance of the girl just now. "Junior Song Qingming, meet Senior Su." Su Ziyan waved her hand and said, "Fellow Taoist Song, I haven't seen you for many years. I didn't expect you to come to Guiyang Mountain to see me. Why don't you call me Captain Su, so that we won't be too alienated?" "Thank you for your kindness, Senior, then I will respectfully obey your order." After receiving the message from his third brother Song Kings and learning that Su Ziyan was willing to see him, Song Qingming was really very happy in his heart, and hurried here. What Song Qingming never expected was that Su Ziyan, the captain of the Fian Guard who had taken some care of him in the past, was not as unattainable as other foundation-building cultivators that Song Qingming had seen after building his foundation, which really surprised him. It has been 10 years since they parted at Guiyangfang. The two of them are now in a completely different position, but after chatting for a few words, it seems that they have returned to the floating cloud mountains, which were full of dangers in the past. In addition to reminiscing about the past, I have something else to ask you. I hope the captain will not blame me for being too abrupt. After chatting for a while, Song Qingming seized an opportunity and spoke out the biggest purpose of his trip. Just say it. After hearing what Song Qingming wanted to ask, Su Ziyan did not show any surprise on her face. After all, she is now a foundation-building cultivator. Many times, even if she speaks a few words casually, it may be of great help to a Qi refining cultivator. Song Qingming took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Then, he told Su Ziyan everything about what happened in the mountains northwest of Pingyang County after his defeat in Jinshan Square a year ago. He also told her about the storage bag and the jade box he got later. He did not hide anything from her. Are you telling the truth? Do you have the storage bag of a foundation-building cultivator from the sect? After hearing what Song Qingming said, Su Ziyan was a little bit unconvinced at first, until Song Qingming took out the storage bag and jade box with his Iao sect logo. After checking it, Su Ziyan was sure that he was not talking nonsense. It is indeed the storage bag of the foundation-building cultivator within the sect, but I still want to ask you clearly, are you sure that everything you just said to me is true? Once this item is handed over to the sect, you will definitely have to undergo the test of the God-questioning talisman. Once it is discovered that you have lied, the consequences will be something you cannot afford. After seeing these two things, Su Ziyan's face suddenly changed, and she asked Song Qingming again with a serious face. Song Qingming sighed and said, when I got these two things that day, I didn't even know the name of that senior. The reason why I didn't dare to come to Xiaoao sect was that I was afraid that there would be no familiar person to help introduce me, and I would not be able to explain the matter clearly at the moment. If I was involved in the murder of that senior at that time, how could I dare to come to Guiyang Mountain today and tell you everything? Su Ziyan nodded slightly and said, I still trust your character, but this matter is a bit troublesome. How about this, you stay here with me for the time being. And I will deliver these two things to the sect's law enforcement hall first, and I will come back to tell you when I have news. After explaining to Song Qing, Su Ziyan walked out of the cave with a storage bag and jade box. Before leaving, she deliberately activated a restriction outside the cave. After Su Ziyan left, Song Qingming sat alone in her cave, unable to calm down. When he came to see Su Ziyan, he was not ready to tell her everything directly. It was also because after chatting with Su Ziyan, he found that she was still as sincere to him as she was back then, so he finally decided to believe her. As for the storage bag and the jade box, they were both banned by the foundation-building cultivators. For Song Qingming now, it was too dangerous. The entire Wei Kingdom was the territory of Xiaoao sect. Once he showed a trace and was suspected by someone with ulterior motives, he was afraid that Xiaoao sect would get the news before the next day. At that time, not only himself, but all the members of the Song family would suffer from unprovoked disasters. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.